Ottawa County Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, June 23, and we'll start off with the prayer or the invocation and pledge of allegiance. I don't know who's up for that. Allison,
I got it.
take it away.
Thank you. All right, shall we pause a minute? Good morning, God. This is your day. Thank you for the 250 years you have blessed our nation with. May we never forget the reason our country has been free. It's because of who our country has put its hope in, not in earthly powers. All power and dominion belong to you and you alone. Thank you for the freedom to be able to talk with you and to you in the public square. Thank you for the many individuals that help to serve the citizens that call Ottawa County home. Thank you for the good works you have prepared in advance for us to do. Give us eyes to see and ears to hear what is good and beneficial for the people. Grant us discernment and wisdom that come from you and what things to pick up, what things to put down, and in what timing. In the name of your Son, Jesus, I pray. Amen.
For the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item on our agenda today is the, oh, wait a minute, roll call. I was going to skip ahead to the sheriff. You know, you have a presence about you. Wanted to call on you right away. If you would do roll, please.
Present.
Mr. Jortsma. Mr. Zylstra.
Here.
Mr. Bonema.
Here.
Mr. Moss.
Here.
Mrs. Wenzel. Mr. Teeples.
Here.
Mrs. Rohde.
Here.
Mr. Kyers.
Here.
Mr. Berger.
Here.
And Mrs. Miedema.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, now first up, Sheriff, would you mind coming to the podium for a presentation?
Good morning, Chairman and members of the Commission. For those of you that know today's honoree, we'll have no problems believing this next statement. In my time as sheriff, I've had to give one direct order. Everything else I can generally just ask and things get done. But my direct order was for this honoree to present himself today before the board, as he's been doing his best to avoid any type of formal recognition. Today, it's my privilege to recognize Captain James Douglas for an accomplishment that reflects the very best of what this office stands for. Captain Douglas has recently graduated from the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. The National Academy is a professional course of study for United States and international law enforcement managers, nominated by their agency heads because of demonstrated leadership qualities. It is not a program you simply apply for. Participation is invitation only and occurs through a nomination process. Captain Douglas earned his seat at Quantico because of the leadership qualities he has demonstrated here every day in service to the people of Ottawa County. Established in 1935, the National Academy provides advanced investigative, management, and fitness training to senior officers who are proven leaders within their organization. The 10-week program provides coursework in intelligence theory, terrorism and terrorist mindsets, management science, law, behavioral science, law enforcement communication, and forensic science, and it serves to improve the administration of justice in police departments and agencies at home and abroad, and to raise enforcement standards, knowledge, and cooperation worldwide. The program is rigorous in every sense. Academically, students complete a certificate of advanced studies in leadership, organized in collaboration with the University of Virginia. Physically, students train with Academy fitness instructors during their 10 weeks at Quantico to complete the Yellow Brick Road, a grueling 6.1-mile run and obstacle course. Upon completion, they receive a yellow brick to signify their accomplishment. The connections forged there last a lifetime. As one National Academy graduate put it, if you're a National Academy graduate, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. Someone there has gone through the program and will be ready to help you. Captain Douglas brings those lessons, that knowledge, that network, and that renewed commitment to excellence back home to Ottawa County. Our motto is community first, integrity always. What Captain Douglas did at Quantico embodies both. He invested in himself so that he could better serve the men and women of this office and the communities we are privileged to protect. Captain Douglas, on behalf of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of this county, it is my honor to present to you this FBI National Academy ribbon to be worn on your Class A uniform a symbol of your dedication, your professionalism, and your commitment to the highest standards of our profession. Please step forward. Congratulations. From the comically uncomfortable look on your face, I would imagine you want to make a statement now.
First of all, thank you to Sheriff DeBoer for getting the process rolling for me and nominating me so that I could attend, and to the county and my coworkers and everybody else for the support and picking up the slack while I was gone. And then my wife's here, so thank you for holding it down at home while I was gone for 10 weeks. That was tough. So I appreciate the support and everything from everybody involved. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, Captain Douglas. Next up, we've got our Customer Service Awards. Let me see here. Sam Bodie, are you in that? You are. If you'll join me at the podium, I'll be right up there. You're not off the hook yet. I get to read this. All right. Sam Bodie. Sam recently stepped up during his own lunch break to cover another inspector's pre-inspection, ensuring that everyone stayed on schedule. That level of dedication speaks volumes about his character and commitment. Recent client experience data shows that 92% of clients rated Sam's service as helpful, describing him as knowledgeable, professional, and a true partner who makes every regulatory interaction feel supportive and respectful. Beyond his inspections, Sam consistently goes above and beyond by assisting coworkers, developing multilingual communication tools, and pursuing excellence through advanced training and challenging assignments. His dedication and impact were recognized statewide when he was named the Michigan Environmental Health Associates 2025 Sanitarian of the Year, an honor that reflects the exceptional contributions he has made to both Ottawa County and his profession. Will you please join me in giving Sam a round of applause? All right, Sam says he's up for talking, so I'll give you the mic, Sam.
I think that government work is paradoxical in a way. Government work is set up for the people, but it's very easy in our positions to forget that that's what it's about. This also isn't helped by, I think, portrayals in media. How many movies are there where the government is the big bad guy, or where a story has the main antagonist being a government employee? It doesn't make us look great. But I think if you can take a step back and just think about why we're here, it all clicks together. What this is about is service. Whether it's writing laws, inspecting a crime scene, or inspecting just a kitchen like me, it's all about service. It's all about service to the public. So I think as long as you can always remember that, you're going to be doing right by the people that you serve. Mm-hmm.
I think Sam Bodie for governor is going to be the next thing I see. Thank you, Sam. All right, item C on our correspondence, 58th District Court Probation and Community Corrections 2025 Annual Report. Judge Bunce, please join us.
Good morning.
Welcome. Morning.
I did put some thoughts in writing, and I'll stick to that pretty closely because I'll tend to vary if I don't. So focus is my main thought, but on my way here, I'm going to go down a trail here a little bit. My focus was lost because I was able to go through Visser Farms and they're still picking strawberries. And I thought, would it be okay if I called Lori Catalino just to give the report and I'll go pick some strawberries, because we haven't done that yet this year. But I remained focused. I kept driving towards the building here. And then as I was walking in the building, I saw Chairman Bruger come in with a large box of donuts. And once again, my focus was lost because that's one of my weak
I
points.
see you followed the donuts right into the room though, so we got you.
All right. So many of you are familiar with the work of the, well, before I begin, on behalf of Judge Mulder and Judge Bocanegra, I thank you for the opportunity to share some of the District Court 2005 achievements, but also some of our challenges as we continue to move forward. Now, many of you are familiar with the work of the District Court, but for those listening here or online, the District Court is a trial court, often referred to as the People's Court. The District Court handles civil cases when the amount in dispute is $25,000 or less. The District Court is where all criminal cases begin. That's kind of important as we go further through this presentation. The District Court is where all criminal cases begin. The District Court determines whether a felony charge should go to the Circuit Court for trial and for final disposition. The District Court retains jurisdiction over all misdemeanor offenses. Also, the District Court has exclusive jurisdiction over all summary proceeding cases. Those are cases involving landlord-tenant disputes, whether it be residential or commercial property. And before I go any further, I'd like to publicly thank the District Court staff and probation staff for all of their dedication and hard work in 2025, and now halfway through 2026. We could not fulfill our mission and vision statements without you. A special thanks to Lori Catalino, who's with us here today, our District Court Administrator, Andrea Reinders, our Deputy Court Administrator, and Alma Valenzuela, our Director of Probation and Community Corrections, for their work in leading our teams and preparing this report. The report was made part of your board packets for today's meeting, and while I will not go through it slide by slide, I would like to highlight a couple of the achievements of 2025. During 2025, the staff and judges received training on the statewide MyFile system. This is a digital program to file and manage cases in the District Court. Last November, the District Court began receiving and processing all civil cases electronically. However, we do maintain an access plan for those who do not have digital access. Interestingly, though I do not think related, last year we recorded a 25% increase in our civil docket. So MyFile was just getting up. Attorneys were still learning the process. Private improper litigants were learning the process. So I don't think that increase in civil cases was due to MyFile because of the timing when we began it. However, in looking at our data from the end of 2025 till today, we're still seeing an increase, an uptick in our civil filings. So I think once MyFile takes hold and people get familiar with it, we're going to see even additional filings in the District Court. Our misdemeanor caseload was up by 10%. Our felonies were up by 3%, and our drunk driving cases were up by 14%. In 2025, the court opened and processed nearly 43,500 cases. 43,500 cases through the District Court. The staff entered over 38,500 dispositions and receipted over $5.25 million. The District Court performed 576 marriages. Now, some say the District Court doesn't have the authority to give a life sentence, but we were able to do that occasionally.
It's a good one.
Hey, I consider life of joy with my wife, but we procured over $550,000 in grant funding to help defray the cost of our community correction programs in our mental health sobriety treatment courts. The judges ordered and probation employees assigned and monitored 16,419 hours of community service. Now, if you calculate that by the minimum wage in 2025, which I think was at $12.48 an hour, that amounted to a benefit to the county of $204,910 that our Ottawa County residents received the work from that community service time. Our active probation staff engaged in nearly 7,500 contacts with those on probation status, in addition to conducting 2,954 field supervision checks. I know I've challenged my staff over the last year, our probation staff, to look at where can we get into the community more often. It's when you give that direct support, I think we have the best outcomes. The court sobriety treatment and the mental health treatment courts continue to focus on high risk and high need individuals. While keeping our focus, our sobriety treatment courts continue to outperform the statewide average for recidivism as shown on page 22 of the report. But aside from the data, we must also focus and evaluate the human impact that our treatment courts have. In those courts, our lives are transformed, education levels are increased, our employment opportunities for our participants improved by 42%. Families are reunited when a participant embraces their recovery. I fully think that when we build strong and healthy families, we will build a stronger and healthier community. Now, looking forward, how can we as the People's Court continue to provide the necessary services and timely resolutions? In 2025, the statewide Judicial Resource Report, that report is conducted every 2 years, determined that the 4 district court judges handled 122% average workload by case weight. The initial report from the Michigan Supreme Court recommended a new 5th judge for Ottawa County. However, the final report did not contain or continue that recommendation. So to maintain the timely and quality service to Ottawa County residents, without a new judge position, the district judges will need to turn to staff for more assistance. When we evaluated our human resources, a quick look revealed significant clerical turnover rates for the past 18 months. In our Holland office, we experienced a 61% turnover. In our Hudsonville office, we experienced a 32% turnover. And in our Grand Haven office, we experienced a 20% turnover. We continue to evaluate the why behind that turnover. However, because of this high turnover, our management is continually in training mode. And training not just in simple tasks, but in complex file management systems. The need for accuracy in processing these cases is critical. Errors caused by a lack of experience and/or a loss of institutional knowledge negatively impacts the liberty and safety of our residents, as well as increasing the county's potential financial liability. Our existing staff is working in crisis mode far too often. While Ottawa County experienced record population growth over the past 18 years, the county has made the necessary additions of deputies, support and command staff at the Sheriff's Department. The addition of attorneys and support staff in the prosecutors and the public defender's office, as well as a recent circuit court judge addition, and now a future circuit court judge position on its way. Meanwhile, I was surprised to see when I look back at the district court where all criminal cases begin and where the civil docket is continuing to increase. Not one new full-time position has been added since 2008. Now that's in large part due to I think the management of the district court, the ability to focus, to streamline, to make efficient decisions on management. But we're at a point where that I think needs to change. As you can see from our report, the work of the district court has a distinct and direct impact on the quality of life for all who live, work, and play in Ottawa County. I do look forward to your continued partnership and support in our upcoming budget request for additional staff. Again, I thank you for this opportunity to highlight the achievements, but also to convey some challenges that we can overcome together. I'd be glad to try and answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? Commissioner Minkma.
Thank you for your report, Judge. And I'm sure we'll have some more details that are going to come before the board at some point in the budget season. Do you have certain areas that are already at the top of your mind that you're looking for when you say an additional staff member? Is that an additional staff member? What are your thoughts?
We are struggling with just simple manpower. When you factor in people's sick time, vacation time, Family Medical Leave Act, to run a district court, you have a bare minimum number of employees that you need. But when you start to factor those things in, and then you look at the increased workload that happens, we have a difficulty covering all the bases. And so sometimes, more often than not, our chief clerks, who should be managing, administering, are having to fill in the seats of our clerical staff. So my chief clerk will have to sit at the front desk and handle tickets as the day goes on while trying to manage all of her other responsibilities. Those kinds of things need to slow down and stop so that we can do effective management. And so additional clerical staff, I think, is where we're focusing.
Appreciate that detail.
Thank you.
I guess one other question, you had mentioned some of the rates went up, for example, drunk driving, and you mentioned a couple others with felonies. Do you have any data to share that, is it because we have more boots on the ground that are able to make arrests? Are there other areas that you've been able to analyze the data on that, or is that not something that you've taken a look at?
I've not personally taken a deep dive into the data yet. Just my simple logic is when we add all this power to the sheriff's department, power to the attorney's offices, all that funnels into the district court to begin with. And so our workload just generates more, they generate more in work, so we have to handle more of that work as we process the cases.
Great. I really appreciate your report today, and the one that you also shared, whoever put it together did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Kendra?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was wondering, you mentioned one employee. Are you, in your opinion, to balance the load, how many additional employees?
I think in our current budget request, we're asking 2 additional clerical spots.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. If we have further questions, we will. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's all right. I have one more. So can you just refresh our memory, what your primary funding source is? Like, how is the district court primarily funded, and has that changed?
The funding sources for district court has not changed. There's a portion that comes from the state to the county, and then there's a kind of a pass through, and the county supports the district court in a large way as well.
Okay.
And then we do utilize some grant resources, like I mentioned here earlier, and some of those grant resources focused on the community corrections and the sobriety treatment court and mental health court are the types of grants that have been around since the inception of those programs. So we look at grants sometimes and say, well, we'll have to replace those dollars at some point, but the federal and state levels have replaced those dollars for us since the inception of those programs, and we'll continue to ask for that money to keep those programs viable.
So in your recognition that you need some more staffing help, are you foreseeing there being any additional resources on the state, federal, or grant level, or do you think that we need to primarily be looking at the county?
Primarily looking at county funding for that.
Okay. All right. Can you break down at all, percentage wise, where we stand right now with those different funding sources?
I really couldn't give you to it, but I can get that information to you, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's on page 8 of the report.
Okay. Great, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right, Judge, thank you.
All right,
We will
thank you.
certainly reach out to you with further questions, I'm sure.
I appreciate that. If there's donuts left over,
Okay.
you can bring them back to Grand Haven.
You are on my way back. All right, sounds good. All right, item D, Sheriff's Office 2025 Annual Report, presented by Sheriff Eric DeBoer. Come on up.
What's that? No, I don't need it. Thank you. Oh, good morning again. Long time no see.
Morning.
I want to begin by just thanking Judge Bunce for his leadership and his cooperation in this criminal justice program that we have here in Ottawa County. We're all really great partners. We all work really well together, from the prosecutor's office to the public defender's office to the sheriff's office to the courts. The more I go around and meet with other sheriffs, I just came back from a sheriff's conference with sheriffs from all over the nation, and you realize how blessed we are here to have these partnerships and the cooperation that we have among people, even from other sides of the game, so to speak. So it's my honor today to present the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office 2025 Annual Report. In 2025, we built our 5-year action plan from the ground up. We launched it, and then we proceeded to outpace it. It was a year that exceeded our own expectations in nearly every category, but I'll start with what our people accomplished every single day. In 2025, our staff answered 69,144 calls for service countywide. We responded to 7,210 crashes, including 1,121 with injuries. We issued 23,614 citations and warnings. Proactive enforcement resulted in 4,872 arrests. Our dive team was deployed 7 times for search and recovery. Our animal control managed 2,228 cases. Our Marine Patrol logged over 26,000 hours on local waterways of patrol, and our Records Division generated 50,417 police reports, processed 4,626 FOIA requests, and shared 6,197 cases with digital evidence to the prosecutor's office directly. Our corrections staff processed 4,680 bookings and 4,677 releases, maintaining an average daily population of 279 inmates. And 9 incarcerated individuals earned their GED, something I believe reflects the kind of agency we want to be, focused not just on confinement, but what comes after. As always, I want to offer some context around our crime statistics because numbers without context can mislead. Compared to our 5-year averages, robberies are down, burglaries and larcenies are down, and those reflect real progress for the hard work of our patrol and investigative teams. Aggravated assaults are up, and we are tracking that closely. Geographically, incidents in Coopersville, Park Township, and Talmadge Township have declined, and incidents in Jamestown and Port Sheldon are up, and we are actively examining what is driving that so we can respond accordingly. The trend that concerns me most is fatal traffic crashes, which increased significantly in this past year. Every one of those represents a family that received a knock on their door, and that is not acceptable to me. And traffic safety will remain a focus priority for this agency in the years to come. We have begun weekly high visibility traffic enforcement efforts in 2026 and will continue to look for new ways to ensure the safety of those who travel in Ottawa County. Beyond the numbers, our detectives handled cases in 2025 that illustrate why what we do matters in ways that statistics simply cannot capture. In March, a young man was shot and killed in the front seat of a car traveling through the Marne area. The driver, his acquaintance, was handling a pistol while driving. He pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and felony firearms. In May, a 19-year-old was shot and killed inside a home in Talmadge Township when a friend fired a rifle through the floor above him. Senseless and avoidable, the suspect pled guilty to discharge of a firearm in a building, causing death. In September, a 52-year-old man was shot and killed at an apartment complex in Georgetown Township in a domestic incident. His girlfriend has been charged with open murder and awaits trial. In November, a man opened fire in a parking lot on Douglas Avenue in Holland Township following an argument, striking 2 people. Both survived. The suspect was arrested and charged with assault with intent to murder and was sentenced to prison. In each of those cases represents a community shaken and a team that showed up, did the work, and brought accountability. I also want to highlight something I'm particularly proud of. In 2025, our detectives proactively pursued tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children related to online possession and sharing of child pornography. That work led to 7 arrests and 5 convictions with a combined maximum sentence of 840 months in prison. Several investigations remain active. This is exactly the kind of proactive, mission-driven work that reflects our commitment to protecting the most vulnerable. Our cold case team also received new information about possible remains buried in a Chester Township property, potentially connected to an out-of-state homicide from the 1980s. Forensic anthropologists conducted a full excavation, and no remains were located, but the work was thorough and professional. Detectives are also actively pursuing an unsolved 2014 armed robbery with newly developed suspects. And our digital forensics lab, operated jointly with Holland Department of Public Safety since 2012, has conducted 269 forensic examinations in 2025, analyzing over 61 terabytes of data. The lab secured nearly $60,000 in new equipment, software, and training to stay ahead of evolving technology. Digital evidence is now central to modern prosecution, and we are investing accordingly. Now I want to talk about where the agency is headed, because 2025 was the year we proved that our 5-year action plan is not just a document, it's a direction. Several initiatives we anticipated would take years were accomplished in months. The promotional process framework for deputies to sergeants and detectives was signed into union agreement a full year ahead of schedule. Patrol redistricting is underway with strong support from local units of government and the support of the county. The Skill Bridge program to hire active duty military into law enforcement was stood up rapidly. We created a court services sergeant and 2 rotating positions. The extreme ownership leadership course was implemented for our supervisors. We continued the Axon rollout, adding in-car cameras for patrol and transport and body cameras for court services and Marine Patrol. We formed a committee advancing our records management transition to our current records management that's going end of life. We're starting our Fusus integration and real-time data dashboard. We rebranded hired new communication specialist, and began building the digital presence this agency is needed. And we created our professional standards division, consolidating hiring, training, policy, internal affairs, and strategic planning under one roof, positioning us to formally pursue accreditation with an application expected this fall. We set a 5-year plan and completed several years of it in one. As we move deeper into 2026, our priorities are clear: completing employee review and development frameworks, continuing the redistricting transition, expanding our cadet experience across divisions, building in-house IT capacity, and implementing the real-time crime dashboard that will let us use data the way modern agency must. To the men and women of this office, this report is yours. To the community members, your trust is not taken for granted. And to this board, your continued support makes all of that possible. The 2025 annual report is available online at ocso-annual-report.org, and I encourage you to explore it. And as always, I welcome your questions today or at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. Appreciate that. Questions? Man, hey, all right.
Go ahead.
Jacob, go for it.
Sheriff. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to hear some of those numbers are going down. And, but the one that concerned me that you also mentioned concerns you is the terrible traffic incidences that we're seeing. And I know we just had one in the paper this week of 3 people killed in the wrong way. I'm hearing that wrong way crashes are up in Ottawa County, but I'm wondering.
I read the same article as you. I think they had the state police speaking on it yesterday or the day before. I can't speak to the causes of the accidents that have occurred so far in 2026. But I can tell you we put together kind of like the worst intersections areas of traffic concern. And so what's happening now at our traffic services division, or the traffic services unit, I'm sorry, is they keep track of that. And then there are certain county funded and township funded traffic cars. They're marked differently and they are free from answering calls for service unless an emergency to go do that. They're being moved around even outside their funding source with the knowledge that that funding source will probably get 5 cars another day to address specific issues. So every week, the unit will decide this is an area where we've had issues, whether it be from traffic complaints or traffic accidents. And then they go and they saturate that area for the day and do an enforcement action. And generally, we're pretty open about where it's going to be and what's going to happen so that everybody can see. We're not trying to be sneaky and drive up revenues. We just want safety. We're continuing with some other ideas for the upcoming year of what we might do to continue to get those levels down. But yeah, this year's numbers were unacceptable.
Are we seeing mostly distracted driving type situations? Do we need to do something for public safety to get a campaign going again? Or?
Yeah, so what we'll do, so one of the things that the board's talked about and we're talked about, we've all kind of talked about together is using data to drive response, right? Because just coming up with an anecdotal, hey, I heard this happen, so let's respond, isn't an efficient use of people or resources. Unfortunately, as it stands right now, the data that exists within our systems are not easily mined. And so we're working through a couple of projects, both in the short term, a contract that you all helped sign with the parent group of LexisNexis. We're putting all our data into that so we can use it to mine that data a little more to find out what are the causes without just going through and having to read each incident. I mean, we can do it for fatal crashes, but I think it's kind of silly to only worry about those ones when the major injury crashes. There's about 1,000 of those as well. So we need to be able to mine that data. And so we're working towards that so that we can better deploy our troops. And so I'm as data driven as this board wants to be, and we just don't have currently the resources. So that's part of that ABCC contract. And then you'll hear in the coming weeks about a possible new records management system project that should have that capability as well. So.
Jacob, I saw Allison and Joe. You guys can arm wrestle for it. Paper, rock, scissors, and go for it.
All right. Morning.
Morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Opportunity for you maybe to just give a little bit of a plug. Are there any upcoming events that maybe citizens could be aware of or where to go for information to know when the police department is in their neck of the woods doing some pretty cool community service type events?
Yeah, most of the events that are coming up are put out on our social media pages. So if you go to our Facebook page or our Instagram page, our new communication specialist is pretty good about getting whether it be classes or events up there. Right now, we don't have like an online calendar that shows what's going on. Generally, you'll just have to fish through our social media, but it's not the worst idea I've heard. So we're talking about what our website looks like. There's we're talking with the communications department from the county to try and figure out, now that we have a communications specialist, how much of that we can take over and how much of that we should keep in their hands so there's continuity. So we're working through those. Those are all conversations.
All right. And then Citizen Police Academy. I really enjoyed going through the academy.
Yeah.
What's the stats on that? When is your next one?
Oh.
Did you just have another one?
Graduates on Thursday. So I'll be here Thursday night for academy graduation. And so that'll be our one for the year. So we generally do it this time of year every year. So we'll look at, now we're coming back up to full staff. We'll take a look at if we think we can spare the staff to do more of them. But it is a giant draw on the managers that kind of run through that, the supervisors that kind of put that on, and all the people that we ask to come in from the outside to help. So, but it's a great program. We love it. It's probably some of my most, if I have to have a night meeting, those are the ones that I actually look forward to, as opposed to some of the other ones where I'm getting
So
pulled.
for those listening who've maybe never heard of it, are you able to give just a short?
Yeah, so it's a 9-week program. It's usually Thursday nights, and you come in and you learn every aspect of what the sheriff's office does and all the kind of ancillary systems that we interact with. So, you'll find out more about the prosecutor's office and the court process on a night where we'll come in and have a mock trial, or you'll do some ride-alongs to find out what our guys do and our men and women do every night. And every aspect in between, demonstrations of every unit that we have. So at the end of it, you have a pretty good working idea of what we do from day to day. We found that no matter how you come in, if you're coming in really excited about law enforcement, or you coming in with a skeptical eye saying, I don't know that I trust, by the end, we've not only made you believers, but generally an advocate for the sheriff's office, and the people that we have doing it are just so wonderful. So it's a great program. And so thank you for the ability.
It is a phenomenal program. So thank you for sharing.
Joe.
Sure, just a quick question, and perhaps this is a data question for later, but do you know offhand the general time of fatalities, the accident?
I don't. We can sit down and kind of run if that's something you're really interested in, we can sit down and run kind of a date and time. I don't know that we will have it until ABCC is fully live.
Okay. Well, that's completely fine. It'd be interesting to see if they're morning, afternoon, night, if they grouped anywhere.
Yeah, and anecdotally, I mean, I remember I wake up in the morning and read them on the overnight shift brief, and then I hear them come over the radio when I'm in my office. So unfortunately, I think the one we just had a really bad one in Georgetown was morning. And then, so it's kind of all over the place.
Yep. Okay. Just a personal testimony. I was driving down the road this winter and had the opportunity to meet up with a deputy who came and did a quick crash investigation. Thankfully, I was not at fault in that accident, but it was a really good interaction. And I always stop and talk with deputies as I'm out and about. And I do a lot of driving in the county. And I really enjoy meeting the deputies. And I know sometimes they're moved around a little bit. I keep meeting new people, and it's actually really fun. So I enjoy that a lot. The people who I've met are just exude excellence. They really do. They're very professional. And I'd also like to commend the high visibility, patrols. And so I drive in the mornings a lot, and I also drive late at night a lot. And so I get to kind of see the gamut. And I have commented this to you. I've commented this to other people too. I really appreciate the high visibility and the amount of times that you guys are visible on the road. It is really, really helpful, I think, for slowing traffic down, keeping people aware of, paying attention and not looking at their phones and things like that.
Yeah, to your first point, we have it's both a blessing and a curse, but we've had to do a lot of hiring in the last couple of years. So yeah, there's a lot of new faces out there, even without movement. But I think that, I guess I am kind of up here to pat ourselves on the back, but we've been good about being able to hire without lowering standards and making it very clear what expectations are of the Ottawa way of doing things. When we had actually 2 new hires start yesterday from other agencies, and explaining the difference between where they may have come from and how we do things here in Ottawa, and how it isn't us versus them. It's the 308,000 of us versus the 1 or 2 people that are doing something wrong. It's not the sheriff's office versus and taking the time to have those interactions and retain the trust that we've been so blessed to have with the communities here in Ottawa County. And so it's actually really fun to kind of see the nodding along and having them understand this isn't just a police department, it's a sheriff's office, and this is what my heart is, and you're doing it in my name. So please be out there doing these things and taking the time. And we've been blessed to not lower our standards, and these new ones that are coming in understand that. And so the culture here has remained. That's one of the strengths that I had coming into office, that we've been able to keep up even with a really, really big turnover. So
I'm thankful for that and good job.
thank you.
All right, I think we have time for one more, John.
I'd like to echo what Joe was just saying. I'm sure that your staff's listening to this and as well. And I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing your executive team here too. And a number of people that showed up this morning to recognize the captain as part of the team. The professionalism, the openness, the accessibility, how you and your staff and everyone treats people, the culture that you just mentioned, it shows, the visibility that Joe was just talking about. Oftentimes when I see one of your sheriffs, I'll pull over just to say hi and thank you. And the respect couldn't be greater. So, I'm sure we all feel the same way on this board. We just have a tremendous respect for you and your department, for what you're doing for the community, and keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll be sure to pass it along in the weekly newsletter to the deputies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. All right, item E on our agenda, Officers Compensation Commission determination. That's just for the public record. We received a report from former State Representative Amanda Price on that. And then we're on to number 5, public comment. If there's anybody who would like to address the board, now is a great time to do that. Please state your name and keep your comments to about 3 minutes, and we'll continue moving along.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. My name is Tom Mahoney. I'm General Manager of Republic Services. We have a hauling collection operation in Jenison, as well as the landfill in Coopersville. I'm also a member of the Material Management Planning Committee. And I'm here today to talk to you about the proposed solid waste financing ordinance. Last week, I sent a letter to all of you, and hopefully you had a chance, the opportunity to review it. I also had the opportunity to speak at the most recent Planning and Policy Committee meeting about my view of the current proposed ordinance. I was not able to attend last month's Board of Commissioners meeting, but I did notice and see that the ordinance, when it was brought to the board for discussion, was referred to the Material Management Planning Committee for review and comments. So we did speak about it at the most recent planning committee, and I believe our chair, Kelly Goward, had sent a letter to everyone about the result of that discussion. In case you didn't hear, the Material Management Planning Committee unanimously voted to oppose the ordinance at this time. What we are asking is that the committee be allowed to work through the process to better understand and define the financing needs and the ordinance language that currently the ordinance language as a manager of a landfill could potentially put me out of compliance on day one. So my ask of the board today is that you hear our voices and you let us work through the planning process to better understand the needs of the group and the needs of the county to provide the best recycling and waste solid waste ordinance that we can possibly provide to you, the Board of Commissioners, as well as everybody else within Ottawa County. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Mahoney. Is there anyone else?
Good morning. My name is Russ Boersma. I'm General Manager of Aero Waste and also a member of the Materials Management Planning Committee. I just also wanted to give a couple comments. As Mr. Mahoney just said about the letter that came out of the Materials Management Planning Committee. I'm sure you all have seen copies of that, but just wanted to echo some of his statements about, I don't speak for the whole committee, but myself and my view is about us having more time with the ordinance to develop it alongside of the new MMP that's coming. I know that there's been some frustration that this has been out there for a long time, and maybe even a view that it's been delayed by, waste haulers or the committee. But in my view, we've had this to our committee, excluding this last time where we had 15 minutes to talk about it. We've had it once before our committee in the last 3 years. And at that time, after the meeting, we were told that it's not under our purview anymore and it's only going to go to the Board of Commissioners. So my feeling is that we were told that our input wasn't needed or asked for anymore. So again, that's why I'm asking for the time to develop it alongside the MMP. Also, I've said it before and I'll just reiterate, is just asking for some clarity about the budget of what this ordinance will be paying for and also an annual report. I guess my ask would be that there is some language within this ordinance that requires that. I think I have been told that you can expect to see an annual report, but I think language within the ordinance then will guarantee that we can see a budget and annual report so that we can explain to our customers why they're seeing, a fee on their bills, an Ottawa County fee, and we can point them to resources that the county has that says this is what it's going for, this is what it's being paid for. So thank you for the time and opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Boersma. Anyone else? Oh, come on up.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, just want to make sure it isn't too close. My name is Keegan Host, and I'm a resident of Georgetown Township. I come before the board this morning to speak on a very urgent problem facing our communities. That problem is the rapid proliferation of AI data centers across our country. These facilities are being built even though people don't want them, and people don't want them, frankly, because they suck. For example, they cause energy costs to skyrocket. In areas where they have a lot of data centers, like in Virginia, for example, electricity prices have gone up as much as 270%. In Michigan, we can't afford that. Ever since the COVID pandemic, inflation has been out of control, and we can't afford any more price increases. Besides the financial impact, data centers also make quality of life worse. They use up a ton of water, they shoot pollutants into the air, and they are also very noisy. The generators and cooling systems used at these sites can create so much noise pollution that it's already causing people to have side effects like headaches and chronic sleep deprivation. And those are just the immediate consequences of data centers. We still don't know all the things that can happen to people when they live near a data center over the long term. It's very possible that environmental or noise pollution could cause chronic illnesses among a portion of residents, especially with regard to children who are exposed to these hazards during critical developmental periods. And so this isn't a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. This is a common sense issue, plain and simple. People of all parties and belief systems have been making their voices heard and saying no to AI data centers. Therefore, I urge the board, both as individual members and as a whole body, to use their power to prevent new data centers from being built in Ottawa County. We don't want them and we don't need them. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Keegan. Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none, thank you all. We have I guess we're up to approving the agenda. Would anyone care to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support. Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Consent resolutions. Suggested motion is to approve the consent resolutions as presented.
So moved.
I would like to pull one item.
Moved by Moss, supported by Kyers on the consent resolutions. Commissioner Rhodey.
Yes, so what I had talked to you about earlier, I had the number wrong. So I actually need to pull 7J budget adjustments.
J. Yeah, I wondered. The other one we have to vote on, so, okay.
Sorry.
So budget adjustments, J, we'll move that down to our, oh boy, do we want to put that one as the new A? Let's put that as the new A. How about that?
Hmm.
J as the new A.
And Mr. Chair, I'd like to pull items M and N.
And M would be the new B, and N would be the new C. I have to remember these notes. All right. A, B, C. Okay. Anything else? All right, so we've got a motion on the table to approve the consent agenda other than those changes. Would you call the roll, Jess?
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
And Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
The consent resolutions pass with the exception of J, M, and N, which were moved to your action items.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for the recap. All right, on to item 8 and item 8A, which would be
Yay.
former item J, budget adjustments. The suggested motion is to approve fiscal year 2026 budget adjustments per the attached schedule.
So moved. Support.
I think Schwartzma and Moss. And I guess, Jordan, you made the motion. Do you want to speak first or? Yeah,
No.
that was nice of you to make the motion first, Sylvia.
I think it was Sylvia.
Sylvia, yeah, go
Okay.
for it.
Yes, so I actually, I would like to move to, first of all, to divide the question on this motion in order to consider item 09-9 Health Fund separately, and that is on page 102 for your reference. And it's in regards to, it's related to funds to promote back to school preparation.
All right, so there's a motion to divide and to separate out, what is the number again? Sorry?
09-9.
09-9 from the block, if you will.
I'll support the motion.
All right, seconded by Miedema.
And I would just note that this is an item that I've been discussing with Patrick and there have been communications with the health department, and Dr. Unzicker has joined us today on this.
Okay. Let's do a roll call vote on separating this item out, if we may.
Mr. Teeples,
No.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
No.
Mr. Barry,
No.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
No.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
No.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
No.
The noes have it.
Okay, so now we've got a motion on the table to approve the fiscal year 2026 budget adjustments per the attached schedule. Any further discussion?
Yes. So yes, I did want to bring this to your attention because let me first of all just read the explanation for this budget adjustment. So it reads to budget additional revenues and expenditures associated with an increase to the local health department sharing grant. Funds will support advertising, supplies, and printing costs in partnership with the Allegan County Health Department for back-to-school preparation, as well as a purchase and distribution of tick kits throughout the county. So the portion of that that I checked in on that I had, I initially didn't really have concerns. I just wanted to check the status of this. I requested to see an example of what the back-to-school what the back-to-school advertisements would look like in relation to vaccine waivers. And the example I was presented did not have anything on it that included information about waivers that are available to parents in regards to vaccines. And back in 2023, I believe the board had passed a resolution asking the health department that whenever they advertise vaccines, that they also include information for families so that they would know that there was also an opportunity to obtain a waiver, as opposed to just knowing what the requirements are in the law for vaccines for school. So the concept being the law allows two things. It outlines vaccine requirements for school, but it also outlines in the law the opportunity for a waiver. So we were simply requesting that the health department present both options for parents. So the response back was that the health department does not intend to follow that recommendation, that they are choosing to not inform parents of their rights to obtain a waiver when they're advertising the requirement for vaccines for back to school. And so that's concerning to me. I know Dr. Unzicker is here. And so maybe she wants to explain, or share more her thoughts. But before that, let me just share I have a few more thoughts I'd like to share. So recently I inquired about the contents of the Ottawa County Health Department's upcoming back to school communications and whether those materials would include information regarding the availability of vaccine waivers under Michigan law. I was disappointed to learn that the health department does not intend to include information regarding vaccine waivers and exemptions, despite a prior Board of Commissioners resolution encouraging that parents be informed of both vaccination requirements and the availability of lawful exemptions. That decision concerns me. For me, this issue has never been primarily about vaccination rates. It's always been about children. Last week, I attended an event hosted by Congressman Bill Huizenga featuring HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy. During his remarks, he discussed the dramatic rise in autism among American children and the urgent need to better understand the factors contributing to that increase. Regardless of where one stands on the causes, the trend itself should alarm all of us. Something is happening to our children. Across our communities, more families are navigating autism, developmental delays, neurological challenges, behavioral disorders, food allergies, autoimmune conditions, and chronic childhood illness than many previous generations experienced. Parents are searching for answers while carrying enormous emotional, financial, and caregiving burdens. As a county commissioner, I see another side of that reality as well. The impact extends far beyond individual households. It's now affecting classrooms, healthcare systems, social services, and our own community mental health systems, which have been experiencing a huge increase in costs related to autism services. We're looking at probably another $800,000 to $900,000 cost this next year. We see it reflected in increasing demands for services, growing public expenditures, staffing pressures, and the expanding needs of children and families throughout Ottawa County and West Michigan. Kent County is also experiencing a huge increase. These realities deserve honest discussion. Secretary Kennedy and many parents across this country have raised concerns that vaccines may be one of several contributing factors behind the dramatic increase in autism and other childhood disorders. Others strongly disagree. But regardless of where one lands in that debate, I believe we should all be able to agree on one thing. Parents deserve complete information. No medical intervention is entirely without risk. Every treatment, procedure, and pharmaceutical product involves trade-offs. Informed consent requires that individuals understand both potential benefits and potential risks before making a decision. So several years ago, the Board of Commissioners adopted a resolution encouraging that parents be informed not only of vaccine requirements, but also about the lawful exemption options available under Michigan law. The resolution did not prohibit vaccination promotion. It simply recognized that parents should know all of their legal options before making decisions affecting their children. And unfortunately, that principle is not being honored. When public communications promote vaccination while intentionally omitting information regarding lawful exemptions, parents are not being given the full picture. One choice is actively advertised while another lawful option remains largely hidden from public view. That approach reflects a preference for compliance over informed consent. And I believe we should choose a different path. Families deserve transparency, parents deserve honesty, children deserve advocates willing to ask difficult questions and follow evidence wherever it leads. Years from now, I do not believe the measure of our success will be how effectively we promoted a particular medical intervention. The more important question will be whether we were willing to confront troubling trends affecting children, whether we respected the rights and responsibilities of parents, and whether we placed the long-term health and well-being of children and families above institutional preferences. So the request remains simple. I would personally ask the health department to honor the resolution, provide complete information, respect informed consent, and trust parents to make decisions for their own children. So this, just information I believe that the board needed to have. And I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but.
Thank you, Commissioner Rhodey.
Sure.
Yep, I'll get you. Joe, one moment, Jacob. Just from a time perspective, got about 2 minutes left if you'd like to speak again, Commissioner Rhodey.
Sure.
All right, Commissioner Bottoма.
Thank you. Yeah, no, and I want to compliment Sylvia for bringing this to our attention again. This is something that's important to me as well, and I hope to the other commissioners. It's something that's important to our public. In 2023, when this first came on our agenda and we spoke at length with each other about it, I spoke at length from this chair. That video that I posted on my Facebook page was my #1 most shared, almost 400 times. The content is very close to the people, the families, the parents that we represent. This is important to them. So I know it's important to the state of Michigan too, because they made a way for these parents to make a decision on this topic. And it took time and effort and finances to bring that to reality for Ottawa County residents to realize. And the health department made the investment to do that as well. So I've always advocated that our health department is a place of facts. It's not a place of just advocacy or being activists for A or B. Let's give the information to the public in a fair and factual way and let them make the decision. So I do think that if there is ability to give equal footing to this option of choosing to vaccinate your children or not, it should be done. And I would absolutely support that being made possible to the public.
Thank you, Commissioner Matimer. Commissioner Georgezma.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think if there is a legal way, it should be available and it should be publicized too. I mean, there's no point in having a policy that we try to bury and hide and don't do anything with. So just as a matter of pragmatism and common sense, I think if you have information on vaccines, it makes sense to have information on vaccine waivers. And we've dumped a bunch of resources into our new waiver program approval system too. So I wouldn't be too concerned about getting the system overwhelmed either. That's
Commissioner Georgezma, thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Wenzel.
It's just a really simplistic question. Why would we want to keep or hide that information from the public?
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? Commissioner Matimer.
I have a question. Commissioner Rhodey or someone else can take a gamut at it. What was presented before us today within the budget adjustments had to do with information as it relates to back to school and making sure that information is provided to families of their options. Have you thought through potentially a motion? If not, maybe we can think of one together as a board of how to maybe best remedy that here before us today?
Well, just one moment, just point of order. And Ron, I may need your help on this. If you want to make a motion, I guess you got to make a motion. But Commissioner Rhodey's had the floor once for 8 minutes. She's got 2 minutes left as far as the current motion on the table. Is that accurate?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So it sounded like we have several commissioners that are supportive of having free choice and being able to give full information to our community. So with that said, I would like to see a direction given to our health department from this board, telling them that we would like acknowledgement that we are following the resolution that we passed in 2023 that stands today. So I guess I would make the motion that we direct our health department to follow the resolution that was passed in 2023 as it relates to the revenue earmarked for back-to-school preparation.
Okay, got a motion and somebody said support. Kendra, all right. Allison, do you need to say anything further on that, or are you good? We can come back to you.
I'm going to think for a moment.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Teeples.
So Commissioner Rhodey characterized this issue as protecting children versus institutional preferences. I don't think that's a fair assessment of the issue, but I would like to understand why we aren't publicizing that. I guess there's a reason. And let's find out what that reason is. If we have anybody that can address it to us, just tell us where we stand on this, because I've heard in the past when this issue has come up, the health department is doing a lot of things to inform parents. So let's hear where that currently stands and why it isn't on this particular brochure, I guess. And then we can address it from there. I'd like someone from the health department to address this and tell us.
Great.
I also would.
That sounds great.
Got a lot of nods. A lot of nods around there. From a procedure standpoint, so we've taken a budget item and we're switching it into a policy item, and
Well, we have a motion
yeah,
on the floor now.
Okay.
And we're debating that.
debating that particular one.
Yes.
Okay.
Which motion are we debating?
So-
Uh, The motion is to direct public health to follow the 23 resolution.
Can,
As it relates to the back-to-school, yes. In general, yeah.
So I think a request for information from the Department of Public Health as to whether or not they are following it or why they
Right.
aren't or whatever would be appropriate.
Okay. So is there somebody from,
There is, Dr.
Patrick.
Glenn Unzinger is
Okay.
here in the, to
All
address
right.
these questions.
if you would like to come up, come on up. The podium is yours.
Mic level okay? All right. So we've talked about a lot of things here. So maybe if we could start with maybe just a more direct question that I can try to answer, and then we can kind of go from there.
I think the direct question is, this board, prior board passed a resolution stating that, if I got this right, guys, when we're advertising vaccines, opportunities for vaccines, we also need to be advertising or disclosing, sharing the opportunity for a waiver as well. And so it sounds like currently there is an advertisement or a notice out there about vaccines, but it is not accompanied by the disclosure that you can also waive vaccines if you'd like to. So I think that's the main question.
All right, so let's try to unpack that a little bit. So first, I think it would be important to clarify that some of the information that we shared in response to the questions were actually examples from our 2022 back to school advertising campaigns. These are just social media posts reminding parents and other community members of the things that need to get done before school starts. So that doesn't just include getting your vaccines up to date. It also includes getting your hearing and vision screening scheduled if you're not planning on doing those through school, getting the dental screenings that are required before kindergarten done, those sorts of things. This particular budget item doesn't include just that. It also includes some other health information that we're sharing throughout the community, both in our county and in Allegan County. And those are our very popular tick kits, which are kits that help people prevent tick bites, as well as education about what to do if they do have those. So just to clarify that that is also what's included in this particular agenda item on the budget. As it pertains to the budget, or I'm sorry, the resolution from 2023, there are a few layers that I think we need to talk about with that. So first of all, the resolution is not necessarily a directive to the health department in order to control our content, right? Our educational messaging, all of the clinical medical information that we share is actually under the authority of the health officer as the appointed health officer by MDHHS and me as a licensed physician in the state of Michigan. I have to provide evidence-based medical education that's consistent with the standard of care and the weight of the evidence. So when we are presenting educational information, we go by those standards. We go by the standard of what is the most effective public health intervention based on the majority and the strongest weight of evidence. Now, I want it to be clear that I take the idea of informed consent incredibly seriously. I'm a family physician of 20 years. I have had innumerable conversations with patients about these very things. I want people to have the information they need to make the decision. Where it can sometimes be a little bit difficult in a forum like this is to capture all the nuances of those conversations individually. Everyone comes to their healthcare from a different place. Everyone has many different considerations that they're making when they make healthcare decisions for their family. What we do as a public health institution is we provide the information that is based in the strongest evidence for the greatest number of people. I want to address the concern that we're hiding any information about vaccine waivers. We are not hiding that information. It's prominently available on our website. If you go to the miottawa.org/health page and you click on the immunizations section, right across the top, it says schedule an appointment for vaccines, schedule an appointment for travel vaccine, or schedule a non-medical exemption. And we have multiple options by which people can do that. The fact that we don't necessarily put that into a Facebook post about don't forget to get your vaccines updated doesn't mean that we're hiding the information. It means that we're giving people information about the most effective way to prevent the spread of disease in school. And so for us to then provide an off-ramp to that wouldn't really be good public health messaging. So we're talking about health education, but we're also talking about administrative stuff, right? We do remind parents, by the way, yeah, if you plan on having a waiver appointment, you better schedule that early because those appointments fill up in August. And again, that information is very prominently featured on our website. This is not necessarily the time for us to talk about the content of the MyWave platform, the online waiver education program, but we will, in response to some of the questions that we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks, be making some of that information a little bit more explicit in the fact that this education is for information purposes only. It is not trying to get people to change their deeply held beliefs. It is not promoting one position over another in terms of ideology or values. It is merely to give people the information that they need to apply to their specific situation. And the most important thing to know is that whether parents choose an online waiver appointment, an in-person waiver appointment, they always have the opportunity to come and talk with us about their concerns so that we can have that dialogue, because that's where that information really gets exchanged in the most effective way, not just on a Facebook post or an Instagram reel. So hopefully that provides a little bit of insight and clarification into where we're coming from at the health department.
Thank you. And I don't want to get into a Q&A with you, so you can have a seat.
Okay,
We'll
thank you.
discuss further now that you've
Thank you.
given that presentation. All right, up next, anybody else? I saw Commissioner Georgezma.
Yeah, I guess, since it's not a Q&A, I was just curious if the information from this grant is going to be sent out in the mail or on Facebook, just Facebook posts?
Shoot.
Because, I mean,
All right, come on back up. That is a simple
For-
question. I didn't want to get into a philosophical conversation.
no,
so,
that's
yeah.
totally fair. But for a Facebook post, I completely agree. I mean, you can't pack tons of information on a little square graphic that people are going to swipe through.
Right.
So I get that.
Mhm.
But if we're talking about brochures that are being sent in the mail to parents or something like that, and there's a reasonable way to include that information, I certainly think it should be included. So I'm just curious kind of what the nature of this grant is spent on.
Well, since the budget adjustment hasn't been approved yet, that work hasn't actually started yet. And so we don't have necessarily all of the advertising or the posts designed, things like that. Again, this is more of a budget item than necessarily a programming issue. And so I don't know necessarily that this is the forum to go through all of the minutia of that. But I will say again, we are very, very clear, especially with some of our communication with the schools themselves. We give information to the schools to send out to their families and say, hey guys, don't forget, get these things scheduled ahead of time. And that does include information about if you're going to be getting an exemption, make sure you get that appointment in early. So again, we are not hiding that option. And it's, again, that difference between health messaging and administrative stuff, right? And the administrative part is make your appointment for hearing, vision, dental, immunizations, or waivers. When we're talking about what is the best way to prevent the spread of disease, that's a health education message. And that is where we would not be saying, here's the off-ramp from what we as a health department and what the medical evidence suggests is the best way to prevent the spread of disease.
Okay, thank you. Any other non-philosophical questions on vaccines?
I mean, we
Got a
welcome these conversations, and so come to the health department. We will have this conversation.
All right, I've got
Non,
Jacob and then Allison and then Joe and then Kendra. All right.
non-philosophical. Okay. Before 2023, this option didn't exist. And so I'm really thankful for the work that was done, that through the board and through the health department in collaboration with each other to bring this option more prominently forward. So thank you for what you just described as how to find the vaccine waivers. I'm there on your site right now. And for the benefit of the public, I just want to show them real quick because this is the immunization page and it basically lists 3 options, right? Routine vaccinations, travel vaccines, and vaccine exemptions or waivers, right? So prominently displayed right on the landing page. If you scroll down just a little bit more, another full width button for the online option for non-medical vaccine exemption education. So that's where you can fill out the paperwork online and then bring it in for signature. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's the process?
Yes.
And that's streamlined?
Yes.
So you're not away from your family and kids for so long?
Yes, and we're consistently working to improve that process to make it even more streamlined. As you can imagine, the technical aspects of that can sometimes be a little bit tricky, but we are certainly working on streamlining that even further so that parents can have as many options as they want. And I want to make it clear too that no matter which option they choose, they can always switch to another one. If they say, I'm not doing this thing, this is taking me too long, I just want to go to the health department and talk to somebody and get it done, they can do that. Or if they've completed the entire module and they say, I'm not really sure about some of this stuff, I'd like to talk to somebody more about it, they can make an in-person appointment or they can schedule just a signature appointment. We are working toward potentially not needing the in-person signature appointment too for families that may prefer that option of just completely doing it online with no personal interaction with the health department. Although
No, that's all, yeah. And I also like that you're making it that maybe I don't feel like my child is ready for a vaccine yet, that you can delay that. That's another option. So you can choose to get the vaccine, you can choose to get a waiver, or you can say, hey, I'd like a waiver. I'm not anti-vaccine, but I'd like to delay this decision. And so that's another route. So I think giving the public options is a good thing. So thank you. I just want to express my gratitude. Thank you.
thanks.
Allison.
Morning. Thank you for being available for our questions. It's almost July. What information have you put together so far? And what does it look like? Where do you plan on using it? You've addressed it a little bit, but I'd like some more concrete examples. Are you going to back to school fairs? If so, what are you having available at those tables? And then I have a couple follow-ups.
So there are a few layers there. I will say for this particular item, for this budget adjustment, the manager of that program is off this week on a previously scheduled well-deserved vacation. So she would be the one to speak more to the details of the actual advertising campaign content. Our communications director also is not with us here today, but they would work closely on that. And I would work closely with them as well. Again, typically it's more just reminders about what needs to get done before school starts. In terms of some of our outreach events, we have some of our immunization team is present at some of the back to school events. And they're there just for people that want to know, hey, are my kids' immunizations up to date? Can you print me off an immunization record? And they're for that purpose. If they have questions about immunizations, they can talk to one of our immunization nurses there. If they have any other questions about any of our other programs, we have information there. There's a QR code that they can scan to get information about any of the health department's programs. So it's pretty robust in terms of what's actually done right now. Again, that manager is away this week, but I'm sure she'd be happy
What
to
have
share
you
some
had
of
at
that.
those tables in the past?
Which tables are you talking about?
So
at
when you're
back-
going to the back to school fairs, what are you putting out at the tables as it relates to vaccines?
Typically, we would have a conversation, really. And that is another area where, as you know, as the world is switching from paper to digital, we are, again, trying to streamline instead of having just a big brochure display, having more tailored information for folks so that they don't have to get overwhelmed by, well, here's a pamphlet about well and septic, but I actually wanted to know more about vaccines. We're trying to streamline that information too, to individualize it more to the people that are actually having a conversation with our team members, because that is really where that education happens, is that one-on-one.
Do you have any brochures available at your tables?
I do not know right now what the status of our brochure is.
Have you
because we're
had them in
that
the past?
transition. I do not have them on me right now.
No, have you had paper brochures in the past there, or like a little, like a scanning code for people to get information?
I would have to double check on that.
Have you served at those tables?
I have not been at the tables recently.
Okay. I'm asking you these questions because I feel a little bit like you're evading some of my questions.
Okay, how could I answer that better?
So I'm trying to find out, do you have any paper form that you hand out about vaccines in general? I'm trying to find out, because at the moment in our resolution, this is the information I'm hoping that I would like our board to get behind. Be it further resolved, the board recommends that Ottawa County promotion of vaccines for school and licensed childcare programs include full and accurate information regarding available exemptions and waivers from vaccine requirements. So that's what I'm just trying to ask, what has happened in the past? And I'm guessing you do know, and that's why you're the doctor at the health department. And so I would truly like the facts, instead of saying, I'm gonna give it to you later.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that as the doctor at the health department, I oversee all of the medical programs. And so I haven't actually been out at the tables with the team, because our team is an amazing team of experts, right? I leave it in their hands. I can tell you honestly, I don't know what pamphlets they have taken with them. I do know that any information that they would share would be what we as the physician or the health officer have approved and vetted as accurate medical information consistent with the standard of care. And so even if I don't know exactly which pamphlets they're handing out, I have confidence in their ability that they will be handing out accurate and complete information, because our mission at the health department is to work together to assure conditions of health for everyone. And that's whether they choose vaccines or not. And that information that they may be looking for, if they don't see it in that pamphlet that's right there in front of them, that's why we have one of our amazing team members there to answer that question for them. And we are not in any way in the business of withholding information. We know that information is power. Information is how we make these decisions. And even if we interpret that information differently, we respect people's interpretations. And if people want to have an exemption from vaccines, it doesn't matter whether they agree with us or not, they will leave with that exemption in hand once they have followed the actual administrative process. So again, we are not in any way trying to withhold information. We are not trying to be evasive. Information is key, and we will share whatever information people need to make the decisions so that they can all be as healthy as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Menziger. Hold on a minute, guys. We are getting into a policy discussion and a delivery discussion on a budget item, and I appreciate that motion's on. Hold on, please. We've been talking about this for 30 minutes. It's time to move on. So if anybody else has any other questions, let's do that. Otherwise, I'm entertaining somebody calling the question right now. Joe?
Just a fact-based question, maybe so we could.
As long as it's
try to
on
wrap this up.
delivery as it pertains to this grant, you bet.
Well, I'm not sure if it does. You can be the judge. My question would be, do the vaccine pamphlets include waiver information? Or will they? It's a really simple question. Isn't that kind of what everybody's asking?
Yes.
So that's my question.
Does that pamphlet exist?
Or could it, or will it?
Right.
I mean,
So the pamphlets that we provide would have, for example, the vaccine information statements that are federally required for us to share. That most likely, I don't have it memorized, but most likely doesn't say on it, here's how to get a waiver from your local health department, because those regulations vary not just statewide, but nationally, right? And so is there one particular pamphlet that says, call this number to get a vaccine exemption? I would say probably not. But again, that information is very prominently featured on our website, which in today's digital world.
Thank you. You got it. Answered the question. All right. Joe, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got Kendra and then I've got Sylvia.
I had a question about, you had said you better get in because the waiver appointments fill up quickly. So if those appointments fill up, people can't get in?
So that has been an issue in the past where, a parent will, as it always happens, right? Oh no, it's August 31st. I need an appointment. Usually what we have done is we've worked out with the schools that if that person has the appointment scheduled, they're still able to go to school while they're waiting to get that waiver signed. But again, the online process has been done to avoid that, to streamline that, so that there aren't as many backups as there have been in the past.
I do want you to know that several people everybody thinks that every parent knows about waivers. They don't. They 100% don't. I have a family member who did not. I guess my question is, why wouldn't we want the public to know that so that it's on equal terms with what you're passing out?
So again, we're talking about a couple different things. We're talking about the administrative details versus the health messaging, right? And the health messaging is the most effective way to prevent the spread of disease in school is through vaccination. The administrative messaging is, if you're not going to choose that, then here's how to go about getting your exemption.
Dr. Munzinger, good job. You said that, I think, 8 times today. So we're going to move on. Sylvia, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so I just have 3 quick things. So my concern on this issue is not, on this particular issue, is not so much for the people who know about waivers, but for the families who don't know that waivers exist and are available. That's my concern. And that is part of what went into our resolution in 2023. And to answer Jordan's question, where you were talking about the Facebook posts, in the past, after that resolution was passed, they did include that information, even in Facebook posts. It can be included in the comments. And so they did make an effort for about 2 years there to include this information. So it has been done before, and you guys did a good job doing it. In some of the communications back from you, you said we do not highlight the opt-out alongside the recommendation because advertising the exit from a public health measure within the materials meant to encourage it works against the measure itself. And so, you have outlined your reasons why you're not doing this. You intentionally are not doing it because you would like to promote vaccination without informing families of the other option.
And Commissioner, sorry, we're getting into a philosophical discussion
That's
here.
fine, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, what is the motion on the table?
To require them to follow the 2023 resolution.
Okay, motion on the table is to require them to follow the 2023 whatever. Resolution, thank you. I said revocation, resolution. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Zylstra,
No.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Back to the original motion on the table, which is to approve the $22,000. This is a $21,000.
This is to approve the 2026 budget adjustments. We did not divide.
Oh, you're right. We did not divide. That motion failed. Thank you. All right, so we're on to the
I
full
have a
motion.
Quick question. Does the health department believe currently? that
No,
they're-
we're moving on. Sorry.
No,
This is we got a vote. Thank you. Let's call the roll on this budget, on the full consent, blah, blah, blah. So the motion on the table now is to approve the fiscal year 2026 budget adjustments per the schedule. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and thank you for joining us to answer questions. Item B on the agenda and action requests, which was item M on the consent agenda, Housing Advisory Board. The suggested motion is to approve the resolution to disband the Ottawa County Housing Commission and create the Ottawa County Housing Advisory Board with originating bylaws.
So moved.
Moved by Moss and supported by Kyers. And I think Allison wanted this one.
I think this should be a fairly brief conversation from my perspective. I really appreciate the length of time and the work that has been done to go from bringing forward this resolution today. And I think there's been a lot of buy-in from a lot of different people that sit currently on the Housing Commission. And we've had a lot of good conversations here as a board. I guess have one remaining question that I'm not sure has been addressed. I'm wondering if Patrick or maybe Karen has any information, if it would change our budget at all. Do we foresee our strategic impact department staff hours being increased greatly? Will there be any type of budget adjustment as it relates to changing the commission to an advisory board?
To be determined, there is a request by DSI for a staff member associated with this effort.
Okay. Do you have an idea about perhaps at least somewhat of a ballpark of what that might be looking like in the budget?
From a cost standpoint, I mean, I don't know offhand what the grade and step would be, but it's tantamount with most employees, probably somewhere between 80 and 120,000 with benefits and base.
All right.
Joe.
Just for clarity, that if that potential request went through in the future, that would probably be to address multiple areas, not just the advisory board, wouldn't that?
The
be for-
position request is primarily associated with the housing effort and the housing goals that are outlined in the proposed strategic plan. So that was an effort that I think Paul's been kind of handling since the county took on housing, and the workload has grown to the point where he's requested a position, which we just met with him yesterday on that.
Thank you.
What would happen, I guess, to the advisory board in the meantime before that position request is brought forward?
Nothing.
The work will be able to
Sure, yeah.
start? Who will be covering it to start? And
Current staffing in the DSI would continue to head that effort. Yeah. So we're still in the evaluation stage of all of the position requests, so we haven't made a determination.
okay. If that's something, I guess I'm just making sure we're not jumping the cart before the horse versus, do you have any, let's say that the board here feels like they don't want to put that much money, or the public weighs in and says, I really don't want to see a staff member devoted to this. Will that change in effect this advisory board?
I don't believe so. I think we'll be able to continue on with, and I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah.
again, I haven't evaluated all of those requests. So I think if this is the direction that the board wants to go with the housing advisory board, we'll make it work. We'll figure out a way regardless of
Okay.
staffing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Zylstra.
No, I appreciate Commissioner Miedema's concerns. I do want to point out that, the main impetus behind this is to leverage volunteer energy in the community, right? And throughout the whole process, it's about accessing the expertise we have in the community, accessing just folks who want to make the mission work, right? And those are members of the public, and those are volunteer members. So I do appreciate the concern, but this expansion is about tapping into that energy, right?
Yeah, I will look
The
forward
cost of
to a
county.
future conversation. I think we do it.
The future is the future, but the present is simply, we have a bunch of folks with a lot of expertise in the community who want to be a part of that. Let's tap into that.
Thank you.
Joe?
Sure, just briefly, I guess I'm really thankful for this part of the conversation. I was seeing this as Commissioner Zylstra just kind of elaborated, that a lot of the work with the advisory board will be volunteer-based and community-based, less county. I guess I'd just state that as moving forward, as position requests are considered, one thing that I would like to see is if there is someone who is brought in to assist with items in the strategic plan, long-term, or anything related to this, that it's, you know, the person is kind of doing multiple things and not only this. I wouldn't personally want to see the county take on another, you know, $500,000 in 5 years just to do this one thing. Like it to be a little broader.
Okay.
Just a comment.
Anybody else? Okay. You know, and the off chance that this got pulled off, I actually wrote up a little statement. I don't usually do that, but I'm going to read it anyway. I'm excited about this new committee. It brings together and gives Ottawa County's brightest and sharpest minds, volunteers, who operate in the housing space, a platform, a direct voice to the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners. Working collaboratively with local municipalities and townships, my hope is that this group will help us all find ways to reduce red tape, streamline approval processes, and find tailored solutions to housing needs in each of our communities.
Amen.
That's it. Let's vote.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel, Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
And Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Item C, which was in solid waste financing ordinance. The suggested motion is to approve the resolution adopting the Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Georgezma, second by Kyers. I guess Jordan, you get to, oh wait, who asked to have this removed? Allison did, yeah, go for it.
Yep. In light of our not receiving the letter until 1:30 yesterday afternoon from the Materials Management Planning Committee, and it has not been put into the packet. The public has not been made aware of this letter and the details that came with it, including a unanimous vote to turn the ordinance down as currently presented in the timing. I'm going to make a motion to table this motion.
Okay, motion and support to table. Ron, do we have discussion on tabling?
No.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barry,
No.
Mr. Georgezma,
No.
Mr. Zylstra. Oh. Mr. Bonema,
No.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
No.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
No.
Mr. Bruger,
No.
and Mrs. Medema.
Yes.
The noes have it.
Okay, so the item is on the table to approve the resolution adopting the Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance. Jordan.
Yeah, I have over the last year gone back and forth on this issue. I know some people have been calling this a new fee or user fee or a new tax or whatever, and I just think that couldn't be further from the case. It really, to me, is simple. Right now, any costs that we have with cleaning up environmental pollution, legacy costs, is paid 100% by Ottawa County taxpayers. Under this new ordinance, Ottawa County taxpayers would be responsible for approximately 30%, which is savings. So that's as simple as it is for me. And I don't see this being a huge burden to the industry. They do this in other counties. It's a very reasonable way to collect this revenue. And given that most of the legacy costs are situated down in the southwest of the county, I think this just makes good sense. So I will be voting yes. I think this is a good plan. That said, I do think we should spend the next year working with our industry partners to make sure that this works well for them, that it could be tweaked potentially, that we determine, hey, we have been collecting too much money. Let's readjust, or hey, we actually have, larger costs than we foresaw. And I think that's reasonable. I've been concerned by some of the language that Ottawa County hasn't been acting in good faith. I think Patrick and the others who've been working on this issue have demonstrated that we have been acting in good faith. And I hope to continue acting in good faith with the industry partners as well. So I think it's a reasonable plan. I appreciate the thoroughness that this discussion has taken. We've had a very robust several conversations about this. So thanks to everyone for your work on this. I'm glad we're finally getting this done.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. I've got Commissioner Moss.
Sure. I'd just like to make a motion to change the in-county fee to $0 for waste from Ottawa County and the out-of-county fee to $1.50. I'll speak to it if I have a second.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Miedema. Go for it. You have the floor, Commissioner.
Thank you. So this has been an idea that's been discussed in the past. And part of the purpose of this resolution is to raise new revenue to cover expected costs. Some of it may be legacy costs, and there's probably $3 million needed for pumps and things like that, which probably has gone up by today. But there's other uses for this revenue. One of them is to build new recycling centers, sustainability centers, to cover some of the household hazardous waste costs, things like that. But part of the underlying reason for this resolution is that 70% of the garbage that's deposited in Ottawa County is from outside the county. And the reason for that is because it's so inexpensive overall to deposit your garbage in Ottawa County. So one thing that we could do as a board is adjust this user fee so that it doesn't hit our county residents or businesses as directly, but it disincentivizes the garbage that's being brought into Ottawa County. So I'd like to see, that 30% that we're talking about pay $0, and then the 70% from outside the county bear the weight of the fee.
Okay. Anyone else?
Can we ask
Commissioner
a
Miedema?
question about how that would, if there's anyone here today that would like to weigh in on that sits on the committee?
I guess maybe I could have Commissioner Moss just explain the financial result of that.
So, not to call on Doug Van Essen, but this is one of the items that has been talked about for a while. So perhaps Doug would want to address it, but
do you know
it's
what
just
what
two
the
different
financial impact
fees.
of that would be or no?
Well, we'd raise about the same amount of revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it needs to be 147 or 152, I'm just saying 150 because it should be just a little more than, it should be about the same.
Anybody else? Commissioner, ooh, boy, okay, got everybody raising their hands at the same time. Go ahead, Phil.
So you talk about that it would raise about the same, but don't you think the waste haulers would adjust to where the mileage is?
I think that's what we want, right? To, in some ways, if they're closer to, let's say, Kent County, some of their garbage would then stay in Kent County. Yes. And that's part of the underlying reason for an ordinance like this is that our landfills only have a certain useful life. Some of them in Kent County might be 5 years. Ottawa County, we still have longer time horizons for our landfills. But once they fill up, they're building new landfills.
That's one thing you gotta look at when you look at the budget. If they're gonna switch from where they're hauling their waste could really affect the
Right.
amount of dollars, correct?
It could, but our costs are still lower overall. And so in general, it's probably not going to create a significant change. So at least that's been the discussion.
Commissioner Teeples.
So a couple thoughts. I think Kent County their fee is $1.68 or something like that. So
something like
so we're getting close to that number that they have. But I also think that this cost to the county average homeowner is 30 cents a year. And I think that all of us understand that we pay for our way, and 30 cents is not a big deal. I mean, we have user fees all over. I mean, Mackinac Bridge, we cross and we don't let the taxpayers pay for that. Everybody that crosses pays the fee. That's just kind of how we are. And so to have some skin in the game is a recognition that we are in this together. 30 cents a year is not a big deal. No one's even going to sneeze at that. So I wouldn't support your motion, Joe. I think it's an interesting thought, but it doesn't change the game. We still need to make sure that revenue comes into the county. Yeah, it's a $3 million current need, but we saw in the reports that it's 500,000 a year after that. And one more thing I wanted to address. I met with Russ Boersma this weekend, a great conversation. And one of the things he mentions in his letter that he sent to all of us, one of the ideas was this annual report, right? That's been, and he sent me a copy of what Kent County does annually, right? I've talked to send it off to Patrick. I would expect that we would see something like that every year so that we would be able to account to the public about where the costs are, how it's being spent. But we've seen the budget, we've seen the need. It's a 10-year need that is going to be addressed. And hopefully this, whatever board configuration exists in the future, holds those administrators, the administration accountable to that kind of reporting. And I would expect that it would.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Zylstra, did you have your hand up or were you?
No?
No. Okay.
Good,
All right.
thank you.
Anybody else?
Do we know the feasibility of collecting fees under that system? I mean, is it relatively simple to determine the county of origin for this waste?
And I'll ask Doug to join if that's a question to us, but it would add a level of complexity to how this happens. There's a couple concerns I would have. I would want to talk to the waste haulers about that because they do have an interest in bringing flow into Ottawa County. So anything we do to dissuade that, I think economically is not in their best interest. And it does complicate when you start creating the county of origin as a step in the process. There's additional administrative oversight. There's the concern of, are they being true to what's happening with where this is originating? The dollar flat fee takes away all guessing, and it's a true representation of the amount of waste that's going into the landfills. It's very easy to track. It's reported to the state. When you start complicating it by county of origin, it may introduce some issues that both the county and the haulers may have concerns with.
Yes. In the system, the landfills and the haulers are supposed to track county of origin. They have that information, which is why we know it's 70-30. So it would be technically feasible to have a fee like this. The statute does authorize the county to look into flow control as a mechanism to incentivize or to even regulate. Historically, Ottawa County has not wanted to interfere with the private sector. That's been a strong philosophy. It's one of the reasons we got out of the landfill business in the first place, is we felt it would be best served by the private sector. We did make an adjustment, and Commissioner Moss was the impetus for that. The original draft that was Ottawa first, and that was to eliminate the sharing. We initially proposed a 25% sharing with the county of origin for the revenue generated. So it was kind of the reverse of what Commissioner Moss is saying. We were collecting the information and remitting back to the host origin county 25% of what was collected and deposited in our landfill from their community. The decision was to take that out as Ottawa first. So I think the concerns I would have with the motion are that it would interfere with the private sector in a way that we historically have chosen not to do. I do agree it should never be zero because there are costs that are planning costs, there are regulatory costs, there are waste materials planning costs in the future, including with our current recycling, that do impose a burden from our own community. So to be fair, our community should always pay for a portion of this fee. That's the whole concept of fee, is that the cost imposed on the county is covered by the revenue generated.
Thank you, Doug. Anybody else before we vote? Oh,
I mean, I'd be happy to amend my motion to something that is 30 cents and $1.25 or something like that. If there's support, but part of the impetus for this ordinance is that there are, it says in the ordinance, it talks about the negatives that Ottawa County receives because of the landfills. So it just seems long-term, if we want to reduce truck traffic, litter, noise, odor, and, long-term remediation consequences, that we do so by having a slightly, I mean, it's very small, but disincentive to always bring your garbage here because it's less expensive here. So that's why.
anybody else?
Sure.
Jacob?
Commissioner Moss, I would, of course, support that line of thought, but I've always advocated for incremental change. And I think that the change that's being proposed today is the right change today. I think that's something that moves the ball in the right direction. Currently, the cost of all this is being borne on Ottawa County citizens 100%. And here we are changing that to reduce that from 100% to 30%. You're proposing to get it down to 0%. I'm also a fairness guy. Who's contributing to the problem? Who's contributing and who's benefiting from the solution? I think in a fairness conversation, Ottawa County is contributing their trash to these landfills and is benefiting from that. So paying 30% for what we participate in makes sense. That does make sense. Now, I'm also a guy that likes to pay less. And if we have a benefit that other people are willing to pay more for, let's take advantage. But I don't want to do that today, okay? I would advocate to support it as is. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, let's vote on the amendment.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
No.
Mr. Bonema,
I'm sorry, excuse me, we're voting on the amendment or the,
the amendment.
Amendment.
oh, no.
Okay.
My bad. I was thinking we're voting on the whole thing.
Mr. Bonema,
No.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
No.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Edema,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
No.
Mr. Teeples,
No.
and Mr. Bruger.
No. Okay, so
Motion
we are,
fails.
oh, sorry, I jumped to the gun. I was counting to 2. So we're back to the original motion, which is to approve the resolution adopting the Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance. Commissioner Moss?
Yep, just another quick motion. I'd like to motion, yeah, hopefully.
Sorry.
This one is probably pretty quick. It's just terms based. So I'd like to motion that the resolution be sent back to legal to add definitions for reasonable notice and relevant records.
Support.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second, Commissioner Moss, Commissioner Miedema, to send this back to legal, what was the, how did you phrase it? Reasonable notice?
To
Definitions.
provide definitions for reasonable notice and relevant records.
Okay.
And I'm happy to speak to it briefly.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So I'll just read a paragraph from the letter we got from MMPC. It says, MMPC believes that more time should be spent working with industry partners to define and clarify vague language within the proposed ordinance that has raised elements of concern, particularly related to enforcement. For example, the terms, quote, reasonable notice and, quote, relevant records need to be clarified.
Okay, thank you. Wondering if Doug could step up and give us a little bit of clarification on those 2 points before we continue.
Relevant records came up during discussion with the Solid Waste Planning Committee and the Materials Management Committee. And we did include a definition already in the proposed ordinance. So section 6.3.11 defines, quote, relevant records to include waste origin, composition, as we were just discussing, tonnage, disposal information submitted by the facilities to the state of Michigan, including the user fee collected or that should have been collected by the disposal facility under this ordinance. So I think we do have a definition on that, Rec, and
Yes, thank you. I missed that.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
So that one's handled.
And the other one is on reasonable notice.
Reasonable notice. Okay, so your landlord, if you're a tenant, will have a language in the lease that upon reasonable notice, they can inspect your facility. The reasonable notice here focuses on our audit to make sure that compliance is being achieved by the landfills and the haulers. Normally in an ordinance, you don't want to hamstring your ability to define reasonable notice, just like you don't as a landlord in your lease, because circumstances change. I would expect that ordinarily, if as part of its annual report, or certainly the deep dive, which this ordinance requires the board to do every 2 years on what has been collected and what is being expended in your needs, you're going to give a week's notice or something to the landfill before you show up and audit their records to make sure there's compliance. On the other hand, it's possible that there's a rumor that this particular hauler is coming in, paying cash and not paying the user fee. And you may want to have your investigator follow that hauler. And after they've paid their fee, ensure that the landfill collected the fee at that particular moment. So while enforcement is going to be something we attend to over time, maybe clean up in greater detail after a year or two of experience under the ordinance, at this point, I would leave it fairly generic, consistent with what your landlord would do and what most ordinances pertain to.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Teeples.
I think that's a great way to put that. From a legal perspective, you can't, it's almost impossible to put everything in. Reasonable is customary in many different contracts. But experience is what you mentioned. So if we find out that there's a better method that we need to be more clear about, I think we address it. But until we see a need that there needs to be a change, I would suggest we just leave it the way it is. And just like it will in many other contract setting, at least at this point. That's my thought on that.
Okay, I would be willing to withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so we are at the original motion, once again, to approve the resolution adopting the Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Miedema.
can we look at, on page 148, the last number, 200.6.5.2. Currently, it reads, no disposal facility may collect another county's user fee, materials handling fee, or other Part 115 fee unless expressly approved by the county administrator. I believe in the past resolution that sat before the board, or the ordinance, it used to say expressly approved by the Board of Commissioners. And so I would just make a motion to strike county administrator and insert Board of Commissioners.
Could you repeat the section just so we can get our eyes on it?
200.6.5.2 states no disposal facility may collect another county's user fee, materials handling fee, or other Part 115 fee unless expressly approved by the county administrator. And I believe that the past ordinance had Board of Commissioners, and so I'm just asking for it to be reverted back to how it used to read, striking county administrator to Board of Commissioners.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table. Is there
We'll
a second?
support that.
Okay, second by Moss.
I don't think that's something we want to put on our administrator.
When was this changed? I don't know if our administrator knows it or if.
Maybe it was a typo.
Not aware, Doug, can you answer that one? If that was in the, I can't speak to the previous version.
Perhaps I honestly, I don't recall when that got changed. I will give you, I know Kent County has been extremely concerned that somehow it's $1.68, which the two landfills are collecting today, will not be approved by Ottawa County as part of their process. I've assured Kent County that I don't think the Board of Commissioners is interested in interfering in any way with that. What's the purpose of this provision? In part, it's to monitor what is going on there, right? Because it does have an impact on flow control. It has an impact on what we're trying to do with our landfills. So for example, if Kent County raised it to $10, we might have a problem with that, right? Maybe you want it, but that's something that would be reviewed by the administrator, presumably in consultation with the Board of Commissioners. I don't feel strongly one way or another about this issue other than then entertain Kent's proposal and make a formal decision at the board level. Alternatively, I'm sure the administrator would tell you that he intends to let Kent County collect their $1.68, and you would be apprised of that and could weigh in on it. It's up to you and how you want to craft your ordinance.
Yeah, I usually withhold my 2 cents until the end, but I'll just say that this one actually makes sense to me. As we're implementing a new ordinance to keep it a little bit closer to the board's control, at least on this issue, I'd be in favor of. But anybody else? All right, so the suggested motion is to, repeat that one more time, the suggested amendment.
Just to strike the word county administrator and replace it with Board of Commissioners under 200.6.5.2.
All right, let's have a roll call vote.
Mr. Bonma,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Zalstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Any, before I read it again, any other amendment?
Just a comment.
Okay. All right. So we're on to the original. Let me just read. I'll read it one more time. Hopefully we're just going around the last time here. So the motion is to approve the resolution adopting the Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance. Joe.
Thank you. One of the things that this will do, and that is a major undertaking of MMP and all the work that's being done, is data collection. And so there's a high priority on gathering more data so that the county can report back to the board and to other stakeholders what's going on, and including the state, probably number one, the state. The state's very interested in the data that's being generated from all of these activities. So that'll be something that will benefit the board, that increased focus over time as we're trying to do better collectively, not the board, but the waste haulers, the different stakeholders and partners as we're gathering data.
Thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Miedema.
My final thing that I just want to share, because it's from all I can see, is I think our minds are made up at this board level at this point in time of how we're going to vote. I just would like to read into record the letter that we received, because the public did not have access to that information. And so it came from the Materials Management Planning Committee. And just as a reminder, that committee membership is prescribed by Part 115 of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, which is Act 451 of 1994. And candidates that sit on that committee are interviewed by the Appointment and Alignment Committee, and they're approved by the Board of Commissioners. And one of their key roles is to present information for not just the Board of Commissioners, but it's for the public to be able to weigh in on the recommendations that they bring forward. And the public has not had an opportunity to weigh in, and I'm going to read their letter. To the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners from Materials Management Planning Committee regarding the Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance. And again, this came yesterday at 1:30 in the afternoon. Dear Commissioners, at the request of the Board of Commissioners, the Materials Management Planning Committee reviewed and discussed the proposed Ottawa County Solid Waste Financing Ordinance at our meeting on June 17, 2026. After discussing the ordinance, a member presented a motion to vote on the ordinance and to present that vote to the board. At that time, the committee unanimously voted to oppose the ordinance as presented. The MMPC recognizes the importance of adequate funding in maintaining the physical and environmental safety of the environmental sustainability centers in the Southwest Ottawa County landfill. Understanding the actual needs and associated costs of the ordinance is essential before imposing any funding mechanism, so that undue costs are not added to county materials management operations and community partners. Funding needs, budget projections, and materials management plan goals and objectives are integral elements that must be defined prior to activating a funding mechanism to ensure that adequate funding is raised. Furthermore, the MMPC believes that more time should be spent working with industry partners to define and clarify vague language within the proposed ordinance that has raised elements of concern, particularly related to enforcement. For example, the terms reasonable notice and relevant records need to be clarified. Providing clarity and expectations in the ordinance, or at minimum direction on where to find them, will allow facilities to prepare and operate with a defined set of expectations. It is understood that there are immediate and critical needs that fall under the solid waste management plan, and there is an Ottawa County budget and capital proposal process that should be used to address them. When presented to the board, we urge the commissioners to allocate and approve the requested capital and budgetary needs. Once the goals and objectives outlined in the materials management plan, currently under development, are determined, a revised ordinance backed by calculated financial needs can be prepared. We thank you for your attention to this matter in support of solid waste and materials management in Ottawa County to meet the current and future needs of all residents. Sincerely, Kelly Goward, Chair, on behalf of the MMPC. And the MMPC members include a wide variety of individuals serving, and they include Carrie Bliss from Padnos, representing a waste diversion business, Russ Boersma from Aero Waste, representing a waste hauler, Dan Broersma, the City of Holland, designated to represent an elected city official, Nick Carlson from Goodwill Industries, representing a business, Ted Costigan, Polkton Township, representing an elected township official, Kelly Goward, ODC Network, representing an environmental group, Tom Mahoney, Republic Services, representing a materials recovery facility, Joe Moss, County Commissioner, representing an elected county official, Matt Rosser, WM, representing a landfill, Paul Sachs, Ottawa County Department of Strategic Impact, designated to represent a regional planning agency, and Dan Tietma, Organicycle, representing a compost facility. That is the end of the letter that we received at 1:30 that the public did not have time to weigh in yet. And for one, that is one of my reasons that I will be voting no today.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? All right, I'll just throw out my thoughts then. This has been a long time coming. I believe there's support to get this through. I do take issue with the comment that the public hasn't had the opportunity to weigh in. It's been a 4-year process. Most recently, in the last 2 months, this has been discussed at 4 separate meetings. Today, there was no one from the general public here to speak on it. It was the waste haulers or the waste haulers who would be impacted. So I'm not surprised that they would speak out against it at all. Not surprised that the MMPC would vote out against it, given the representation on that board either. So I really want to reiterate that I appreciate the opportunity that the county had, that I had to sit down with Republic Services, that I had to sit down with Waste Management. And I know that County Administrator Waterman also sat down with Republic Services. We've gotten a load of input from the haulers on this ordinance. A lot of the changes that they suggested, we made. And this is not perfect, I get that, but this is a step forward. And for me, the big thing is, right now, Ottawa County residents pay 100% of the costs. This shifts that burden to 70% not Ottawa County residents. And I think that's a huge step forward. So with that, let's call the roll.
Mrs. Wenzel,
No.
Mr. Moss,
No.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes, no.
Mrs. Medema,
No.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Original item A, post-execution contract ratification. Suggested motions to ratify all contracts on the ratification report pursuant to the county's contracting policy.
So moved.
Moved by Moss, second by Georgezma. Commissioner Moss, anything or?
Nope.
Okay, all right, Commissioner Zylstra.
Yeah, I've struggled a lot with the last item on this list, the separation agreement. Yeah, I believe in treating all our employees with dignity and generosity, both ongoing and outgoing employees alike. But I also think we need to treat our employees with even-handedness and fairness. And unless outgoing severance is going to be a standard practice for all our departing employees, I don't think an agreement of this nature is a precedent that we should be setting.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, let's take a roll call vote.
Actually, I have a little bit I'd like to say. I agree. I believe that, I believe that whenever we're handling anything with an employee, we need to do it with utmost care. So I appreciate you expressing that sentiment. I also just wanted to call out something on this because I think a lot of times we identify things that we're concerned about, and there's actually something I was really encouraged to see on here. So I just want to take note of it. On page 165, I see a contract for CASA, and I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that, but the description is court-appointed special advocates, which supports trained advocates to represent children involved in abuse or neglect cases. The program helps ensure children have a voice in court and receives support focused on their safety and well-being. So just wanted to call that out. That's a really beautiful thing that I've had CASA involved in some of the foster care cases I used to work on. And so it's always neat to see as part of county government advocates for kids. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Commissioner Rhodey. Anybody else? I'll just actually second Commissioner Rhodey's comments to say, yeah, it's nice to highlight some positives. So thank you for pointing that out. Would you call the roll, Jess?
Yep. Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
No.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next item on the agenda, debt management policy, second reading. Suggested motion is to approve the revised debt management policy for a second reading.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Georgezma, second by Bonema. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item C, legal services policy. Suggested motion is to approve the revised legal services policy for a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Georgezma, and I think seconded by Medema. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Turning the page, item D, tuition reimbursement policy, second reading. Suggested motion is to approve the revised tuition reimbursement policy for a second reading.
So moved.
Or
Moved by Georgezma, second by Kyers. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item E, well, sorry, I'm getting the numerical part off. Jess, original item E is what I'll call it. I just realized that. Salary and wage continuation policy. Suggested motion is to approve the revised salary and wage continuation policy for a first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Georgezma, I think seconded by Medema. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Personnel Requisition Policy, first reading. Suggested motion is to approve the newly drafted Personnel Requisition Policy for a first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jortsma, seconded by Medema. Any discussion? You guys are a team down there. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number G, strategic plan. Suggested motion is to approve the resolution, adopting the 2026 through 2028 strategic plan.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Kyer, second by Jortsma. Any discussion? Okay, Commissioner Zylstra, hey.
Good. So I wasn't here, unfortunately. I would have liked to have been here for the work session on this. I had offered a few of my thoughts. I think the thing that stuck out to me when I watched the video was the suggestion about noticing and streaming all boards, commissions, and committees seem to have gotten good reception, and just wondering why it wasn't included in the final draft.
I guess I didn't, I thought there was more, it helped me, I'm looking to the board, because my recollection is we were kind of a wait and see on that.
Okay, I mean, I can make a
yeah.
motion to include it in the final draft.
That would be perfectly.
Okay, I'll make a motion
Yeah.
to include the original suggestion to notice and stream all boards, commissions, and committees. I had a fuller description, but hopefully that should be enough.
Can you reference the section just so that we've got that?
It is goal 3, objective 4, improve transparency and access to information. And
that helps.
Yeah, under C, notice and stream all boards, commissions, and committees. I know we've done a good job over the last 5, 6 years of including more boards, but I think having something in our strategic plan that focuses our attention to keep working toward noticing and streaming all boards, commissions, and committees.
So that.
Well, in my mind, really, address that.
Hey, Doug, hold on a second. We need to get a second on that one. So the suggested motion is to add the goal. Read the goal one more time.
Notice and stream all boards, commissions, and committees.
Okay, to item 4 of section 3 of the strategic plan. Is there a second?
I'll support that.
Seconded by Commissioner Roddy. Now, Doug, you have the floor. Go for it.
Yeah, I guess I just repeat myself. I mean, improving transparency and access to information. I frankly, I can't see what is more helpful to improve transparency and access to information by providing residents with, live streaming and noticing of meetings, as well as obviously, subsequent, review on the website. So for me, it's fairly straightforward, but.
All right, thank you, Doug. I've got indications from John and then Jim.
So as I recall, the discussion at the workshop was that it's an overbroad suggested motion. Live streaming can be very complicated, may not be possible in some situations, and to make it a requirement of the plan of the board is just too broad. I think Brian addressed this very well. I thought the consensus on the committee that day was this is just too much at this time. But the county is always working toward trying to make it transparent and make it more accessible to the public anyway. And we've gone a long way in that regard. So I just think it's too much. And I thought we thoroughly discussed this at the meeting to recognize your.
I just want to be clear that I didn't include the full description, but it was work toward noticing and live streaming. I understand that if this were to pass, we're not going to do it tomorrow, but having as a bit of a North Star, that idea.
I understand.
Okay. Commissioner Berry.
I would just build off what John was saying, that this did come up. I think there was general support in concept on that, but not every room, every location is set up with the Wi-Fi and the ability to technically live stream and or record some of these things. So I think we're all kind of want pretty much the same thing. It's just how are we going to get there?
Thank you, Commissioner Berry. Anybody else? Commissioner Miedema?
I'm wondering, Commissioner Zylstra, we did have a pretty long conversation about this item. And I do think that Brian brought forth some good thoughts about the feasibility of certain places. Some of them aren't held on Ottawa County facilities, for example.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if maybe just a slight change of your wording, that you'd perhaps get a little bit more support from the board instead of saying all. I think you had all in there.
Okay.
I'm wondering if perhaps there could just be a tweak. Could you reread the motion again? And
Well, the
then
original motion was notice and stream all boards and commissions and committees with the idea that we're going to be working toward noticing and live streaming all county boards, commissions, and committees meeting. And so if you want to address the word all by specifying that it has to be, feel more specific, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's what you're going towards, right?
Yeah, I would say that we continue striving for the continuation of that conversation. I do think that we need to keep having those conversations, and I think by having a goal in there, I think that it's a great goal to strive for, and there may be nuances there that it still doesn't make sense, but I do appreciate your motion.
And I almost think adding the words at the end, whenever possible. Yeah, because I think it is really good to have it in there as a goal, as something that we're going to work towards. And I think whenever possible does set a standard that if we can pull it off, we do it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of implicit in there, but if you want to, I'll definitely, notice and stream all boards, commissions, and committees whenever possible. But totally sensible.
So we've got a amendment to the motion. I think Commissioner Zylstra made the motion and I've forgotten who seconded it.
I did.
Commissioner Rhodey, are you good with the amendment?
Yes, yes.
Which is to add the
Yep,
word wherever
friendly
possible.
amendment, yes.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay, I'll throw my, I struggle with the wherever possible. Who determines what's possible and what's impossible? Everything's possible. So I think we've communicated to staff very thoroughly, multiple times, that we want to be as transparent as we can and, make attempts to live stream where applicable and to record meetings where applicable and to post them. But as far as making that a dictate where there's some ambiguity with the language, especially at this time when we've talked about this multiple times, I'm not comfortable with it. I may be alone on that, but that's the way it is. Let's call the roll on the amendment.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
No.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
No.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
No.
Mrs. Brody,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
No.
Mr. Bruger,
No.
and Mrs. Miedema.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. All right, so we're back to the original motion, which is to adopt the 2026 through 2028 strategic plan, I would say as amended. Any further discussion? Commissioner Moss?
Sure, just a brief one. We had some conversation on this. Ooh, actually, I have one quick comment on that last one. So if we're adding that, I'm assuming that the target task completion part will just say ongoing. Right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Long goal.
Yeah, it's long. Yep. Okay, thank you. I appreciated that discussion in the work session as well, and some on this other item I'd like to recommend. So goal 3 is build trust and confidence in Ottawa County. The subpoint of connect with our community through trust and accountability. I'd like to go back and pull from something we heard from Sam this morning during the Customer Service Awards. I'd like to change goal 3 to say provide excellent public service to make this outward facing. And so the motion is to change the top level goal 3 to provide excellent public service.
Is there a second?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Rhodey. Commissioner Moss, you have the floor for a bit longer.
Sure. The motion is pretty self-explanatory. I want to make this goal, I'd like to phrase it differently. And we had a little bit of discussion at the work session. where I would like to make this an outward facing goal on its face. That we are here to serve the public and we want to pursue excellence. And so I think that is all of these items in goal 3 encompass that. And so that's as a baseline for the county, whether we're talking the Ottawa Way program or transparency or data-driven decisions or anything else, or even just the small stuff. It's not small, but things like today approving a new request from the sheriff's department. Our goal is always to provide excellent public service. So personally, I would like that to be something that we all champion together.
Are you suggesting adding like number 7?
No, I just think the top line goal. So instead of build trust and confidence in Ottawa County, which I see as kind of inwardly focused, I want to make it explicitly outwardly focused. Provide excellent public service.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, no, sorry, I really appreciate what Joe says. That I remember that from the video as well. I think implicit in everything we do is excellence in service delivery. So to have that as a separate goal seems to be kind of against what we're doing. I mean, the whole reason for us to be here is to deliver excellent service to our residents. I think the goal, and I was part of the breakout for this goal, is, to address how do we do that, right? The what is excellent service. How do we do that? In part by building trust and confidence, the public, ourselves. And that's a way of achieving that underlying goal, which is, for me, just a given, right?
Right. I think we should use the goal as the goal, not the what or the how, like you're saying. I think the goal should be what's there.
I don't understand what you're saying, Doug. Are you saying you don't think we need it?
I think that, the whole reason for us for being here as a board and for our 1,200 employees is to offer excellent service. That's the underlying nature of what we do. And to have it as a separate goal seems to me, kind of beside the point, right?
It seems like the point, like
Well,
the most important point.
You
And so
could
it
put
should,
that as our
it should
mission
be a
statement for sure. And that's the central underlying thing is, what are we about? We are about delivering excellent service to our residents. And here's how we're going to deliver that.
All right, guys, Commissioner Zylstra has the floor. It's not a back and
No,
forth.
I appreciate back and forth with the judge because it really
yeah.
helps me understand his point of view.
I get it.
Yeah.
That work session is for the back and forth. Apologies. Commissioner Miedema, you do have the floor.
I do think that if we adjusted it to Joe's motion, it would allow that top level being service oriented. And the other two, the build trust and confidence in Ottawa County is intertwined within the key objectives in the description. I know as I'm talking to a lot of residents right now throughout our county, one thing that they are trying to find that we can find ways to collaborate on, even when we have different ideologies, it is the core excellent services. And they want to make sure that we are going to deliver for all of them, right? That we're able to hook them up to different items. And I think some of the objectives and description would fall within that really key goal of having excellent services. And then that trust and confidence comes when we do deliver excellent services.
Just a moment, Commissioner, Administrator Waterman. Anybody else on the board? Yeah, Bill? Yeah.
I have no problem with adding it, but I wouldn't take the trust. I would say build trust and excellent to convey confidence in Ottawa County. That produces it inside and out to me. So that's what I'm thinking.
I would generally go with that too.
Okay.
So let me clear that you're not asking to add a new goal. You're just adding this to clarify goal 3.
No, goal 3, I would be asking what I'm asking for, which is a little different than what Phil just said, is I would just change goal 3. So instead of the words on the left-hand column that says build trust and confidence in Ottawa County, my idea would be we just make that say, provide excellent public service. That's the actual goal. I mean, if you want to combine them, I'd go with it, but.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. For me, and then I'll go over to Administrator Waterman. one moment, sorry. Given the time, the energy, and the thought, and the months that went into build trust and confidence in Ottawa County, and that came out of a breakout session where we had all of the electeds, all of staff there, I understand that that was very important to those individuals as well. So at the last minute here, I'm not interested in changing it personally. I do appreciate the sentiment, though, Commissioner Moss, and adding that as one of the goals under building trust and confidence in Ottawa County. If I could find a compromise, I would absolutely be in favor of that. But again, we're kind of in the 23rd hour here, so it's a little challenging to do it. Administrator Waterman.
I just wanted to point the commissioner's attention to the resolution as well, which also includes the mission, vision, and core values associated with this plan that will be incorporated into the document. The mission statement reads, the Board of Commissioners remains committed to its mission to deliver trusted public services, exercise responsible stewardship, and provide regional leadership that supports safe, healthy, and thriving community. And then under the values, the first value is service, service, integrity, responsibility, transparency, collaboration, innovation, and community. So I'm point that out because it does encapsulate public service into the role of this body.
All right, thank you, Administrator. Any other board members? Commissioner Teeples.
So I don't think we should change it. Building trust and confidence is probably why many of us are on this board to begin with, to try to heal the community. So we can't let the trust and confidence idea be put aside. Service, excellent service, I agree. That's a given. We need to be doing that. So, but I don't think it can be replacing trust or confidence. That should be the priority. That was the first thing, our first workshop focused so much on that discussion. That's why this goal came out of that workshop. So I think we need to keep it. But I think also the idea of excellent service is a given, but not to replace it.
All right, anyone else?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodey.
So I agree with Commissioner Moss's recommendation, because words do matter, and building trust and confidence in Ottawa County really is a politician's goal, and it really reflects a politician's goal. It's self-serving in some respects, whereas if you have a goal of providing excellent service, it's just very clear that we are here to serve the people, and it's not self-serving. And so those are my thoughts on it.
Commissioner Barry.
However you go with this, I think everybody wants excellent public service, and everybody wants to build trust and confidence in Ottawa County. But I kind of see providing excellent service as the how, and the why is because we want to build trust and confidence in Ottawa County.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. All right, again, for me, this came out of the work session, and I guess I take a little bit of issue with this being a political goal, although to your point, a number of us did run on building trust back up in Ottawa County, myself included, because it had been challenging for a couple of years there. The build trust, though, it didn't just come out of a politician's or a campaign strategy, if you will. This came out of a work session that included staff, among others, and that was very important to them as well. So I'll vote in favor of that. All right, Joe, one last comment before we vote?
Yeah, one last comment. Yeah, I'm voting in favor of the plan. I'd like to highlight that the reason why I'm involved on the board is to build trust and confidence in Ottawa County. I got involved because of the extreme government overreach in Ottawa County. I got involved because the health department and the county board was threatening me and the parents at our private Christian school during COVID. I agree that we need to build trust and confidence. I think that's something that everybody on the board who's sitting here wants to do. And we all come at it with different perspectives and different ideas, and that's good. My reason for the amendment is because I don't see a desire or a stated goal of providing excellent public service. And to what Commissioner Zylstra said and others, I do believe it should be visible as one of the top line visible goals.
Thank you, Commissioner Moss. And I further underscore, I do think building trust, confidence in Ottawa County, you hit the nail on the head. And it's for 2 years ago when you guys ran and when we ran, it's that continuing theme. So
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
put it on the strategic plan. That'd be my take. All right, let's take a vote. Roll call.
I would just like to have a clarification. It was excellent customer service when you first said it. Is it
Uh,
policy,
Yeah, provide excellent public service.
public service? Okay.
Yes.
So that is to amend, replace, build trust and confidence in Ottawa County as goal 3 with, say it one more time, Jess.
To provide excellent public service.
All right, let's roll call.
Mr. Kyers,
No.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
No.
Mr. Zylstra,
No.
Mr. Teeples,
No.
Mr. Bonema,
No.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
No.
and Mr. Bruger.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, any other motions? I heard a whisper. No, just in case.
I'm just waiting for the main motion.
All right, let's call the roll on adopting the strategic plan, please.
Okay. Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
Mrs. Medema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel.
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Item number 9 on the agenda, committee reports. I had a conversation with, I think, Administrator Waterman and a few others about,
And me.
and Phil, yeah, about what this committee reports actually is. Thank you, Phil. Go ahead.
Well, let's start.
Historically,
Yeah, so-
historically, committee reports for the board have been, if we sit on a committee, us providing a report from that committee or about our committee work.
So like Land Bank Authority,
Yeah.
Foreign Trade Zone.
I got one.
Yeah, waste management.
We got an asset board.
Yeah.
So asset board, so the meeting was canceled this week. There's my update.
Committee report, Joe, yeah.
That's
okay.
right.
All right, Phil, go.
Well, I sit on the Foreign Trade Zone and it was excellent. And they trade it, they move it around from Muskegon, Kent, GVSU and GVSU talked about, Sonia did from about their, viewpoint of it. So, they're not voting members, but they are going to support us. What we do is foreign trade zones. And the cool thing about, we're just adding more foreign trade zones for the people in Ottawa County, Kent County, and Muskegon County. And it's just good for the taxpayers and it brings business in here. So it's just exciting to sit on that committee. I really enjoy it. And it's something that most people don't realize how big an impact foreign trade zones have on the community. And just as we as commissioners and administrator having a voice and vote on it, it's huge for the community. So it brings stuff in. So I'm happy to sit on that committee. So that's my committee report.
Any other committee reports? Yeah, Doug,
Commissions count?
commission, yeah.
It doesn't
What's
say
commissions?
commission.
Yeah, go for
Commission
it.
slash advisory board, since
Yeah,
we're
let's
now an
do it.
advisory board. No, I just want to say, thank you for all the work from, Administrator Waterman and Paul, who's not here, Brian as well, in getting us to the point where we approve the Housing Advisory Board, expansion. I think it will be a great vehicle for this community to explore the need for more housing opportunities in Ottawa County, tapping into resident energy and expertise energy. And I think on behalf of the Housing Commission / now Housing Advisory Board, we appreciate your votes and look forward to expanded membership. So.
Thank you, Doug. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Jacob.
I sit on the Airport Authority Board and the aviation community is alive and well in Ottawa County. We've got 2 wonderful airports. We've got Ottawa Exec and Zealand Township. There's always fun events happening out there, great causes to support, and there's always pilots that are giving families rides and to get up in the air and see your house or your school or your favorite playground from the sky. It's pretty exciting. So if you see those, they post about them on social media, but get out, see these amazing airports, meet the aviation community, get involved with that whole aspect of our community because it's vibrant and exciting.
Anybody else? I'll throw one out there. Oh, sorry, Sylvia, go for it.
You're okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I sit on the 911 call center committee, and that's been really interesting to be a part of. So last year we hired a new director, and they've been putting a lot of energy into staffing up. We were really short-staffed, so staff were having to do a lot of overtime. Things are really strained there. And so they've made a really big effort to hire. And I think they're pretty close to being fully staffed and so seem to be really doing well. There's a lot of effort that goes into the behind the scenes technology coordination between law enforcement. And so anyways, I really appreciate that committee.
Thank you. Commissioner Teeples.
Yeah, I sit on two committees that oversee West Michigan pretty much, and deals with transportation, with Kent County, Muskegon County, Ottawa County. The road commissions are there from all of those, many stakeholders. There's just a lot going on. This is the construction time for them on roads and bridges and all those kind of things. I had no idea how much money is involved in this work. It's huge and it's long-term projects that take a long time to get going. It's been fascinating for me to learn and to meet people in these areas that I never met before. So hopefully it pays dividends to the county even more directly as time goes on. So it's been good.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? I'll throw out, I sit on a couple of lake boards, Spring Lake Lake Board and the Lloyd's Bayou Lake Board. If you're not familiar with lake boards, they are some state statute that allowed for their creation, and essentially property owners on a lake or a bayou can join together and agree to pay some assessments for things like cleaning water, monitoring runoff, dealing with stuff growing up in the water that's too much so we can harvest it, things like that. And the highlight or challenge that we were faced with, and I think also highlights the interworkings of local government, we had a citizen come to our meeting, and during public comment, they mentioned that it's really a challenge for them to get a good night's sleep when spear fishermen are on the water between 2 and 4 in the morning with their giant bright lights. I get that right there. So we were able to have a candid discussion on whether that's an enforcement issue, whether that's an ordinance issue, if there's anything that we can do. And it so happens that the Sheriff's Department from Ottawa County has an agreement with Spring Lake Township for the policing side of things. So I'll be talking with Sheriff DeBoer about that. But just fascinating stuff that we do. So Phil, grateful to you for pointing out that what this.
But spearfishing is a great sport.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing against spear fishermen. I'm sure it's enjoyable. All right, at this time, we'll move on to public comment. If there's anyone from the public who would like to make a comment. Oh, Jim, sorry to miss you. I did miss you.
Sneaking in here.
Is it your anniversary?
I just want to.
It's my anniversary.
There we go. All right.
It's not necessarily a committee assignment that I've got, but I've had a lot of involvement with things happening out at the Campbell plant, which is in Port Sheldon Township, of course. And we've received word from Rich Houtman at Consumers that the EPA has scheduled a public hearing on a motion that we passed supporting Port Sheldon Township in the request for a public hearing on the deep injection wells that were proposed at the Campbell Power Plant. So that'll be on July 23 at 7:30 at the Midtown Center in Holland. Consumers intends to have some sort of a public meeting the week before that to be available to answer questions from the public. And looks like EPA did send a mailing to neighbors in the area around the Campbell plant as well. So little progress on an issue that people have been interested in for a while. And
all right. Thank you. Good. Oh, Commissioner Wenzel.
I just wanted to remind the public about the Veterans Stand Down and Resource Fair that's August 28th. And we still are looking for vendors and people who are willing to donate to the event. That's at the Pinnacle Center from 10 to 2.
Thank you, Kendra. And you are on the Veterans Committee, so that, yeah, all right, good deal. Okay, public comment. Anyone from the public who would care to comment, you're welcome to do so. Keep your comments, please, to about 3 minutes and identify yourself. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Patrick, Allendale. You did a lot of good work here this morning through the discussions that you had, and that's really my purpose in making public comment this morning. So these discussions are really an evidence of your desire to build trust in the community and to build a culture of openness. And such a culture aligns with your stated goal of building that trust with the community. So the reason I'm commenting here is that I've seen some things that I think are a little bit troubling along those lines, and I offer them as examples of why I'm standing here making this public comment to you this morning. Because I think the board really does need to rededicate itself to embracing a culture of openness, and in particular, looking for ways to embrace the Open Meetings Act. So here's my 4 examples for you. The issue that you had on your agenda this morning on the post ratification to pay a department head to voluntarily leave county employment. This was a highly unusual action. He left yesterday with apparent assurances about being paid before this board even met. So who is involved in approval of this in advance of this meeting? That sort of thing could be discussed at a meeting, even in closed session, but it would be done at a meeting, and that's what I would encourage. The second one is the statements made at your last planning and policy meeting that the Materials Management Planning Committee was asked to provide feedback on the ordinance in a round robin fashion via email. Again, they did eventually meet, but there's no reason for a board or committee to be providing comments via email in a round robin fashion. The third one is the back and forth that you engaged in on the new Housing Advisory Board bylaws. And this was at a committee meeting with an assertion that because the new board is advisory, it's not subject to the Open Meetings Act. If this is true, then none of your standing committees are subject to the Open Meetings Act either, because they're all advisory according to your board rules. And fourth, the practice of the work group of the Ottawa County Insurance Authority to hold meetings without public notice when they clearly take actions on behalf of the insurance authority. So perhaps you would disagree with me on these examples, or whether a group or meeting is subject to OMA or is not subject to OMA. And that's an entirely valid conversation that we could have. So I would offer this in response. Rather than look for reasons not to follow OMA, let's default to embracing it. Let's default to its requirements. It's not difficult. That is the best, most effective, and frankly, easiest way to engender trust and reduce concern from the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Patrick. Anyone else? I see movement. Welcome.
Good almost afternoon, Karen Obit, Spring Lake. My public comment is inspired by the discussion that followed Commissioner Moss's proposed amendment to the strategic plan's goal of building public trust in the board to one that emphasizes instead the delivery of excellent services. As an Ottawa County resident of 23 years, I can tell you that I never had reason to question whether the county board and county staff were committed to the goal of delivering excellent customer service to its taxpayers. Nor did I ever have reason, until a few years ago, to question whether my tax dollars were being well spent in support of the goal of serving residents. Nor did I ever feel as if the county government or administration was engaging in, as Mr. Moss put it, overreach until 2023. So I am glad to see that the strategic plan you've passed today emphasizes building trust in county government as a goal of the plan. That said, as a resident who has now made a habit of continuing to attend county board meetings on a consistent basis, which began in the 2023-2024 term, but has continued to this day, I believe that your statement that you want to build public trust in your board should absolutely follow what Ms. Patrick just talked about, which is to make it a point of always observing the Open Meetings Act. And I also had some questions and appreciate Commissioner Zylstra raising them about the severance agreement for former HR Director Scott Hawk. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much. Additional business report of the county administrator. Community Mental Health Authority update presented by Deputy County Administrator Brian Doucette and CMH CEO Michael Brashears, although I think it may be just Deputy Administrator.
Yeah, members of the board, Dr. Brashears apologizes. He was here for the bulk of the meeting, unfortunately, just due to some time issues. He was forced to step out. In your meeting packet on pages 217 through 218, you'll find a couple of pages just providing the background. In the spirit of brevity, I will highlight some of the points and then address any questions. As you all know, the Mental Health Authority setup process is now actively underway. Some of the notable items which we wish to bring to your attention that have been accomplished or are being worked on are the Munis platform development is underway. Karen is in the back, and this is something that her team are actively working on. And I try to make sure I say thank you each week. Departmental functional review has been completed. All departments providing service to CMH have met, have reviewed their functions, and have been working to communicate how those functions will continue on an ongoing basis and into the future. Focused departmental meetings have occurred. Again, this aligns with point two, just understanding exactly what services CMH has come to rely on and how to ensure that those services will continue on either from the county or through an independent contractor. CMH Chief Financial Officer search and the interim officer appointment has been completed. We have a member of Karen's team, which has officially moved into the interim role and is working with Dr. Bashirs and his team on a day-to-day basis, helping them to understand their finances. As a quick side note, you all spoke about your committee assignments. Just yesterday, the CMH Finance Committee met for probably close to 90 minutes, just talking about CMH as an entity, talking about some of the financial challenges that they have been working through, and then talking about the strategy to address those financial challenges. That was just yesterday in this room, and I think it was a very positive conversation. Continuing on, state follow-up, a letter has been submitted that would have occurred back in March to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, essentially just asking for the director of MDHHS to sign off on official recognition of the CMH authority. The way this works is that the CMH can begin operating as an authority once the director has signed off on it or 1 year from this board's action. No surprise there, we're trying to get started sooner, and we don't want to wait until the spring of 2027 before the authority is officially up and running. We've sent regular reminders to MDHHS, and notably just this week and specifically yesterday, MDHHS announced that the director has resigned. She will be moving on to other opportunities. An interim has been appointed. That person's name is Amy Epke. And literally, I think my first email of the day was to Amy Epke just saying, hey, could really use a signature here. So we will continue taking those steps to try and allow the authority to get up and running sooner than March of 2027. The CMH authority has appointed an independent legal counsel. That's an attorney with Miller Johnson. That attorney has been actively working with the county staff as they work on their separation agreement, as well as some of their internal documents, articles of incorporation, bylaws, et cetera. Just continuing through, one of the things that Doug has actively worked on is essentially what is called an umbrella. So a separation agreement has been prepared. It's still in draft format, but the intent is to have the separation agreement and all of the various services CMH provides to the county or the county provides to CMH. Those would be built into the separation agreement, and that would be everything from how we handle building maintenance to lease agreements to how we would handle fiscal services, and at the other extreme, how we handle jail services provided by CMH to the sheriff's office and on. So that document is slowly coming together, and it will be a pretty large document, all falling under that envisioned umbrella. Ongoing coordination between CMH and county administration. It's everything from small items like setting up their own EIN number. Shockingly, that took weeks and weeks and regular reminders, but it is now done. The Munis platform setup is continuing through Karen's team working with the CMH team so that once CMH as an authority is up and running, that they will have a mirror of our financial record keeping, but it is separate from the county. And then It's things like setting up for the first time in decades its own insurance plan. So that would be health insurance for the staff, but it's also liability insurance for CMH. That's something that between myself and Anna, the number 2 at CMH, we have now had multiple meetings with various vendors, everyone from Michigan Municipal League to Michigan Risk Management Authority, and lastly, private providers. So we continue working on this with the goal of ensuring that the authority setup is a success, ensuring that the staff working at CMH feel no harm through this process, and ensuring that value is being given to county residents. I could keep going, but in the spirit of brevity, I will stop there. If there are any questions, I will happily answer them.
Thank you, Brian. I think County Administrator Waterman?
I just want to really acknowledge and thank Brian for all of his work on this. He's been doing an incredible job. I think as you can get a sense, there's so many variables, so many decisions, so many moving parts, and Brian's just been kind of coordinating all of that work, and it's monumental. So I appreciate his work. I did have one quick update that I had more, but today's one thing I wanted to share is that we are having the Art Trust launch today. It'll be at in the Innovation Room at 4 o'clock. We're going to have this year, the show features only artists who live and work in Ottawa County, and artists and supporters will arrive around 4. We're going to have the awards around 4:30. Everyone's invited. It's a fun event, and then we kind of go around and look at the art. So if you can make it to that, that'd be great.
I'd add that.
It looks like the paint is all
Yeah,
done.
the painting's done. I would add that the art, a lot of the art is up right now.
It
So
is.
if you're not able to see it, take a look on your way out the door for the commissioners. All right, commissioner comments. We can go around. I don't even remember where we were last time as far as this. Let's just ping all over the place. Who'd like to go? Phil? All right, go for it.
Yeah, so Josh wore the thunder today, so me and Josh volunteered Saturday at the Grand River Ravines race. We had,
You're stealing, that was one of my comments.
I know,
can't talk about-
that's why I started first. Okay. So yeah, it was 406 runners. It's pretty cool. A lot of people there. A lot of people really appreciate parks. It was a fundraiser for the foundation, so met a lot of good people there. Speaking openings today, I'll steal Jacob's thunder.
Yeah, take mine too.
We're having a ribbon cutting at Hayworth, but he's going to be the Thunder. He's the commissioner speaking,
no.
so.
Hawthorne Park.
Hawthorne. Park,
Yeah, in the
yes.
southern part of Zealand off of Adams. Beautiful day, 4 o'clock. Come on out.
Hey, transitioned right to Jacob.
Very, Jacob, would you like to continue? Any other updates?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get out there with you, Commissioner Kyers. You know, when I walked the park last night to see some of the new amenities that are being released, and I love that as an investment in our community because it reminds me of something that I think our present culture is trying to steal from us, which is to be present. And I'm going to mention this today when I'm out there, but when you walk in the parks, it just brings you present. You don't have all the distractions of the world. So yeah, get out and enjoy our parks. So 4 o'clock today at Hawthorne Park.
All right, thank you. Should we just continue around the horn? Allison, go for
I
it.
am all set today.
You're all set?
Thank you.
All set? Joe?
Sure, just a couple, just two. So my first comment is about data centers, since it was brought up this morning. Just like to offer a couple reminders. So data center concerns are one of the #1 issues that I hear about from the public right now. And I just want to remind people that PA 233, where there's a lot of discussion right now about the legal ramifications of that law that was passed in 23. That law does not apply to data centers. Decisions about zoning and data centers are still made at the local level. And I strongly recommend that local units consider moratoriums on new data centers, especially the hyperscale style data centers. I know Blendon has just done that, and other local units are taking those up and considering them. There is still a lot to learn. And generally speaking, there's really two kinds of data centers, if I'm speaking very broadly. There's some that are quite normal that you probably drive past and don't even notice. And then there's the hyperscale ones that are the ones that are really truly in the news. Just one more comment for the public is that there is a lot of fear mongering about data centers. And in general, the entire topic is not something that should drive significant amounts of fear, but of digging into the issues and having local decisions made. So strongly recommend moratoriums, at least for a year, so that a lot of this can, kind of get flushed out. And my second comment is that it actually is my anniversary today. It is 19 years. Thanks.
Congratulations. All right, on to this side. Jim. Yeah, go for it, Commissioner Rhodey. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I want to thank you guys for the robust conversation today about vaccine waivers. I know that was, you know, a new issue to, you know, to you guys for discussing today. Along those same lines, I also want to make you aware of one other thing in the public as well. Some of the additional conversations I've had with the health department are related to the new online waiver thing that has been developed. And I know we've had a lot of encouragement from commissioners like Commissioner Bonema to get that up and running. And I believe that, you know, the intent was really good to have that started. Sometimes the waiver process can be uncomfortable and intimidating for families. And so I think a lot of the thought has been that let's put that online so it's more convenient, less intimidating. But unfortunately, the implementation and the actual rollout of that product has not been great. As in a lot of things with public health, MDHHS was involved in the creation of this education module that our local health department is now utilizing. And so it was created on a state level with a number of health departments involved. And so very, you know, traditional public health thinking is reflected within it. And much of that is in opposition to what we're hearing from the federal government on these issues right now. So I had heard some really significant concerns from a parent in the community. And so I put myself through the waiver process to check it out. And I have several concerns with it, and I'm going to be providing you guys more information so that you're up to speed on this this next week. But some primary concerns with it are it contains really a requirement of compelled speech. So there's freedom of religion and conscience issues within it. Parents are concerned about the data collection that's happening within it. And it really does add an undue burden to the requirements of the law. And then additionally, it's very fear-based and one-sided, which make the freedom of religion and conscience and compelled speech issues significant. And so, you know, there is another example of St. Clair County where they've also implemented an online waiver system, which does not have these drawbacks to it. So it is possible to do it a different way. So anyways, I've been trying to address this with our health department. Again, it was built by MDHHS. It's being rolled out, you know, really across the state, and it's a problem across the state for parents. And so I understand, you know, where our health department would choose to utilize it because the state made it, but there are problems. So along those lines, I also want parents in our community to know that they can still go into our local health department to complete the waiver process. They don't have to go through this module. One family, it took them 3 hours to complete the online module. It took me an hour and 40 minutes to complete it. And so it actually is taking a whole lot more time to do it online than it takes to go in. So just wanted to make you aware of that. I'll send you more information so you can be up to speed on those details.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wenzel.
I already gave mine for the veterans.
That's right, you did. Yes.
Mhm.
Commissioner Berry.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I just want to actually thank the Officers Compensation Commission for their work. I think they've been diligent and generous in how they view the work of all the electeds to serve in this county. You know, I guess from my point of view, I think they've been a bit too generous in a few cases, especially with this board. And I do hope that we can review it at some point in the future.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well said.
All right. I just have, let's see, 3 things. One, Phil already stole my thunder about the t-shirt, about the Grand Ravines. Hold on a minute. Let me get it. Grand Explorers Trail Race. I had a wonderful opportunity to get out and volunteer, ringing a bell in the middle of the woods. I don't know what they were thinking of giving me an intersection where racers were running in, I think, 4 different directions on my first volunteer experience, but we did have fun. A little bit of confusion, but it was a good time for all, except maybe the runner that I sent in the wrong direction. The second thing is for, I don't know if he's listening, but for Dave Barnoski out there, I do have a raspberry-filled donut for you. It's in the box over there. And then the final note is just on the fact that we have, I just got rid of that. The 250-year anniversary of the United States is coming up before our next board meeting. And I've got something to read here about one thing that's happening in Spring Lake Township, or the village of Spring Lake as well. In commemoration of the United States 250th anniversary celebration this summer, communities around the country have planned various observances. An event is planned in Spring Lake for July 11, 2026 at Mill Point Park, where a reading of an abridged version of the Declaration of Independence will take place. The event is not sponsored by the government entity. A group of citizens is organizing the Declaration of Independence Reading Picnic, which will run from noon until around 1:30 p.m. Sponsors include the local American Legion and the VFW. Organizers have arranged for donations of hamburgers, hot dogs, beverages, and desserts. Can't get any more American than a hamburger and a hot dog. The public is welcome to attend, and there is no cost. So as we look forward to the 250th anniversary of our nation's Declaration of Independence, I encourage everybody to get out there, celebrate. Thank you, and I think that is our meeting. We are adjourned.